Brendo's at the big desk.
Hi guys, yeah, welcome in. 2 o'clock, couple hours left as we head through the afternoon here, and what's ending up to be a pretty flat day overall after it started out pretty negative. If you remember, right out of the gate this morning, it was all downside. Here's how the big board looks right now for the overall S&P 500, just 0.08 in negative territory. So much improved thanks to largely anyways, the industrials group doing a lot of the heavy lifting this afternoon. 3M still here, down 5%, but PCAR also reporting this morning 7.5 to the upside, along with a few others here, including Caterpillar having a nice day, helping to offset that 3M decline off of earnings. UNP was another earnings name, 2.6 in negative territory, but this entire group, though, nicely positive on the session. Not enough, however, to offset what's happening in the healthcare group so far today. CTLT down 4.8, TMO 4.4, DHR almost 3%. That was an earnings name as well. 2.8%. Some of the healthcare equipment makers also in negative territory. So this, along with, the big one down here, tech is also negative right now, led by what we saw leading the way to the upside yesterday. A lot of the clean energy related names, including Enphase, including First Solar, SEDG was here. A little bit of a bounce right now, 0.97 only in negative territory, where ENPH is down 4.6%. There's AMD, obviously, 2.8% in negative territory as well. But mostly the semiconductors making up this negativity. There are a few software names under pressure this afternoon as well. I want to mention energy and material stocks up here, both these groups in the red as well so far today. 3.5 there for EQT. Oxy, Halliburton reported. Devon, 2.5% downside as well, along with APA. 2.25%. Material stocks, as I mentioned, also red. But some positivity coming back into consumer staples. This group was pretty red to start the day off, but has since gone green, led by MNST, Monster Energy, Tapestry here as well, STZ, Constellation Brands. To name a few communication services, there was a positive note on that one, LUMN, this morning. Back to the upside we go for them. 0.1 right now for the S&P 500. So, hey, on a day as we head into big tech earnings, Microsoft to come after the close tonight. A flat day, we'll take it after a couple of huge ones back to the upside. Hope your afternoon's going well. Let's get right into a ton of things that we were talking about in the pre-market. So many opportunities to deal with this morning. Sean's going to lead us off here with a look at one of his trades from this morning.
Yo, what's up? Shout out to my guy Fahad over here. It's your trade of the day, and it's brought to you by Day Trade the World. Make sure you click that QR code below to start your journey ASAP with the best prop firm around. Look, we chose Microsoft today as our trade of the day just because, again, you know, when we sort of talked about it, this just happened recently, so I'll talk about this. But we've just been very, very patient with Microsoft. And you can see here in the morning, it didn't really do too much. Actually, Neil, can you just push this down a little bit more, just so I can see this bottom if you have this, just this chart. Yeah, bring it down. No. Bring it back up. Just make it smaller. Yeah. Okay. Technical issues here. It's my fault, though. Yeah, now bring it up. There we go, perfect, thank you. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys that in the morning here, Microsoft, and just because it was bouncing off this 241.20, that's really all that I wanted to show there, just to show you guys, because the market opens, this is 9:43, so that's 9:40 or 9:30, opens up, kind of bounces around. We had bigger fish to fry. We didn't even have Microsoft on our radar. And again, on earnings day, not just the day when it's reporting, but even the day before, and maybe even a couple days after, it's very, very risky to get into an early position without sort of seeing like what the momentum is on the stock and what people are thinking. So even though today, look, Microsoft down 0.3, NASDAQ, which I wanted to show you, which was right here, also down 0.3. So today it's pretty much a 1-to-1. And as you can see, this morning we had a couple issues at the NYSE. So I think that created a big, huge bump up in NASDAQ names. And you can see Microsoft doesn't really have that kind of a move. It does here at about 10:30, where we stop at 243. But it's not really following the NASDAQ early. Like, you don't have this big sort of reverse, like kind of an end reverse V-shaped move there. That doesn't happen in Microsoft, but it does happen in the market. And then you basically have had a NASDAQ, as Brendan said, kind of choppy here today. It's heading to the downside right now, so maybe we do have that. So we waited. We just waited for Microsoft, right? We knew we wanted to trade it a little bit today once we could sort of get the feel. And for me, Microsoft was more negative than the market today just in watching it. So we actually waited for it to sort of make a bottom here at 241.20, and then we highlighted highlighted the top 244. Here's a one-day chart here for Microsoft. And again, you're at the 50 period right now, 241, 242. So we do expect a little bit of action back and forth from this. So again, today, waiting for earnings, as you could see, clearly up, down, and around right now. So not much happening on the stocks. We had to be very, very specific. We waited for it to come up, and then I was like, okay, we know that we wanted to get short, so we used the 200 period and VWAP against 240, 250. The best part about this trade was, see this top right here? This is what we were waiting for. That's 240, 250 with a wick up to 60. So as we're shorting in here, 40s and 50s, we're giving ourselves about 10 cents. So overall, it'll be between 15 to 20 cents worth of risk, and then all of a sudden, it pays off. It starts to come back down and we start taking out some profit. That's actually 241.70. So right there, that's about 90 cents. We talked about it on the midday show where we were like 10 to 1 or so on the risk to reward on this one because we had about 10 to 15 cents upside by the time we had our last position on. And there we are taking 90 cents. But then the market, which is right over here, I keep putting the chart on the wrong way. Then the market took off to the upside. So what did we do? This is where we take an L on our last 10%. It comes back up to the upside, but then we start averaging in against that same level. Look what happens when it gets taken out. That's 242.60. So again, stick with your rules. What was a good trade right here turns sour right there. But notice we don't start averaging in until we get to that same level. So all we're trying to do is rinse and repeat the same trade. We're not trying to get cute with it. We're not getting frustrated. As we're seeing it come back up, we're actually excited that it's coming right into our level. The problem is futures got really going here and actually tried to take out the high of the day, which we marked here, 11,943. Tried to take that out, doesn't. But look what happens to Softy. It tries as well. Nowhere near the high of the day. So we're right on the relative weakness, but unfortunately, it couldn't withstand it. We get out. Look at the benefit of getting out at 60 there. Remember where we started averaging? You can't see it, but that's 40s and a couple in the 50s. Then that tick right there is out at 60. So at most, it's like a 15-cent hit, but look how far this goes up. It actually ticks up to 90. So if we had waited for that move, we could have had a little bit of a bigger hit. Then it pulls back, and look, we just follow the same rules again. There's the 40 short again on the NASDAQ, moving back down, rejecting from the top, coming back in again, right? Breaking the 50 period on the NASDAQ. Give us that again. Boom to the downside. Now look at the risk. Short Microsoft, 242.39. Look where we're first out at. That's right at the 50 period. That's like 15s. So that's already 20 cents. Then it comes down. Take it out at 42. That's 40 cents. Come back in. These are each 20%. Then again, right here, we just kind of put this here at 75. We get the fill. So right there, that's 60, 70 cents now when all we're risking is back up to 60 again. So the fill is there. We still have 40% of this short as Microsoft falls down. Let's hold this trade. If the NASDAQ continues to fall and even comes back to these new lows, look, we've already identified that Microsoft is weaker than the market, hopefully. So we should be able to come back to this 241.20 area. But look, we scalp out. So I'm probably going to be sitting around here again where we got the last time out. But it's Microsoft. The key was patience. Let it settle down early because we don't have a direction. Now into earnings, we'll hold this and see if it gets a flush back in to close the day. It's Microsoft on earnings tomorrow, and it's your trade of the day.
Going to be a good one coming up. Tomorrow we'll get the actual trade. Tonight we'll get the actual earnings coming up after the close. We'll continue the conversation here. There was a little bit of a technical issue, guys, there on the rollover from the midday show into the close show. So we'll wait maybe a few minutes here to get a few people to join us and make sure we don't pass over anything important before they do. One thing you can do, guys, hit subscribe, turn the bell on, and then that way you'll get a notification when the new stream starts. So if the rollover doesn't work, you get a quick notification. You can jump in that way. But yeah, well, maybe we'll tweet out the link or something so everyone can get back pretty quick here. I wanted to continue the conversation here on Microsoft because it seems like the market is in a bit of a wait and see this afternoon. We test lower, we test higher, we come back to basically flat on the day, and we're just chopping around here going sideways. So all eyes on Microsoft as we head towards the first of the big tech earnings to report. We've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks now the importance of these earnings that are to come. Here is a interesting chart for you to kick things off this afternoon. Quarterly revenue growth from Microsoft. Maybe I can zoom in on this a little bit. to make it easier to see. There we go. So these are the past few quarters for Microsoft quarterly revenue growth. Remember, not revenue, but growth, in fact. Obviously, challenging economic conditions, challenging market overall. But a lot, it seems, guys, dependent on what happens not only tonight, but over the next couple of weeks.
The first big shoe to drop, obviously, is going to be Microsoft. I think they're already baking in some weakness in Azure. But if they're skittish about the earnings, the relative weakness that sort of we're talking about here, you were talking about, Sean, is maybe not the best sign out there in the world. Like, this market has kept trying to go green over and over again, and you've got things like Microsoft and, quite frankly, Alphabet holding it off to the downside. There's been some, I mean, you have some strength in Meta, a little bit of strength in Apple here today, but Softy just can't seem to break out the top. I know, because I did have a breakout long, and it was so short-lived. If you're watching this morning, there was some shenanigans in the New York Stock Exchange, NYSE. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. But on the NASDAQ, this had broken the bottom and then put in a higher low on my 15-minute chart. It just looked like it was breaking out this resistance level at about 243. And I'll tell you, this was about as, I have this wick here, but it was about as quick as I was into this and able to get more on a dip. I was immediately $1 and then $1.50 in the money. And then 1 minute later, maybe even not that, between getting the top fill here in front of 244, I was getting trailed out just beneath break even. Like, that's how quickly it snapped back to the downside. Like, it took a couple of minutes. We were able to get it, go into the top side, and then just slam. So it was a huge rejection on Microsoft. Definitely a relatively weak name. It's holding up to 241. That's your 50-period moving average. Let's see if we can manage to do that until the close. It's a bit of an inside day, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise as everyone awaits those earnings. But it certainly leans toward relative weakness. And as a matter of fact, we're going to get to big tech in a second, but I just bought that dip in Meta. Tight stop here. I've taken a couple of swings at it for some scalp trades on Meta, but I'm not really, like, I don't want to hold on to it too long unless I'm getting 143. So off the 144s and off VWAP, I've been kind of ginger about it, trying to catch these little bit of a dips. But the market can't seem to hold up. I do like 143 on Meta. We'll get to that in a second. One of the reasons is because of short I had earlier, but we'll get to that. I do think there's relative strength in Meta. To a lesser extent, Apple. Oh, well, to an extent, Apple as well. But Microsoft's been dragging us down here.
Yeah, I mean, Google has been getting killed today, and we had some really good shorts in Google, as well as the DOJ, and, well, apparently it's, 8 different states all file in Virginia there against Google and their anti-competition. But like I said, man, Meta, Google, they've all had Apple, they've all had situations here with competition and, trying to adjust for it. It's been a tough ride for some of these companies. I always find, at the end of the day, sometimes these are great buying opportunities, especially in a longer-term portfolio, obviously in a longer-term portfolio, because, the more these guys get hit on sort of anti-competition or, this is regarding ads. So we'll see if they can get that all figured out. It's not a YouTube-based thing or anything like that. So we'll wait to see. But we were really short Google here today. I think this is what's really dragging down the market right now. We had Google really great shorts, man. On my best one, we got out of it. We only got taken out once right here, where we got punched longer than we had, and then it dropped right after that. So that was sad because we had that, but then we let it come right back up, 299.50, hit it all the way down. My best out's 98.40, so that was $1.10 included right there. That's why we got out, because see, when it came in, we let it drop all the way down here. We had $2.50 or so in the money as it went down, $1.50 in the money as it went down to 98 flat. But then when it came back up, we were watching out for these levels, and we got out once it broke back through 40. That happened. Then it went up all the way to 98.70. That would have also been a good short. But if we're going to talk about Microsoft, and again, thank you for joining us now. We only made one quick trade on this, and that was right here. And then just as we were basically getting set up for the afternoon show, the market ripped, and I was sitting here taking these shorts, and I wanted them, and then we got out of that last piece, and now it's come back into the downside. So it's a good trade for us. We're well up on Microsoft today, but we are still holding this short. Let's be careful about earnings. We've seen, what was the last one? It was Netflix earnings. that tanked into earnings because we had Reed Hastings removing the co-CEO title, which created a little bit of a move down in the last 10 minutes before Netflix reported. Let's see if this market can hold here, and then we'll be able to see what we want to do with Microsoft. So for right now, we're short. We only have 40% of this initial trade. I'm going to get out if it takes 60 again here. That's, 65, 66, I guess is a better out right there. So if we get back up to the upside, we will take about a 30-cent hit on this Microsoft reload. But let's just watch out for the market here. Tesla, day 2 up next.
Yeah, there wasn't much else really outside of what happened yesterday for Tesla this morning. That Elon trial continuing, not a lot coming from it. I just saw he, in 2018, owned 60% of SpaceX. That was worth $15 to $20 billion. So good for Elon. That was part of the funding, apparently. That the point is, it was a part of the funding that he was referring to when it came to that 420 tweet. Anyways, 0.5% here for Tesla downside this afternoon, guys, trying to hold on to these levels. But I mean, same story here. We get the initial push, then the test lower, and then sideways action so far for Tesla.
Yeah. You'll see I'm in NEO, so that's EV&M I'll probably talk mostly about. Tesla, for what it's worth, it did hold the top there at 145. If I made a mistake, it was, in my analysis this morning, I was kind of like, okay, lower highs. Let's see if it holds a lower high and rolls over at 144. I did have an accidental long to make some of it back. It's like you get in the short, lose on the short. I actually accidentally got long, didn't mean to, kind of made a couple of cents there back, but that doesn't even matter. It went right to the resistance level at 145, double top from yesterday. That's going to be the story. Doesn't test the bottom end of the range. Now, if you guys, anybody that was watching this morning understands that something happened on the New York Stock Exchange, from what the statements that they've been releasing was essentially that the opening auctions on like 40 different names didn't occur. So whether you're, I mean, this is NEO, and this really happened to me, or it happened to everybody, and it was McDonald's, and I think Verizon's in there, and Uber, and just a whole host of names. No auction, complete chaos at the open. NEO itself actually opened up into a halt. The trade I was looking for was, hey, let's fade off yesterday's highs. But we're looking at breakdowns maybe at 1180, but I was looking to pop and fade off of yesterday's close at about 12 and then off the highs there. But once I was in position, 930 hit, and it went from $12 where I was short to halting up at 12.92, which took my stop. I literally got filled right here, screwed by $1. It is what it is. They didn't break any of these trades, so you take that hit and you move on. Because the actual trade thesis, which was reject that open and then sort of short it off of that 12, just ended up working for the rest of the day. So you're trading in the markets, and things like this happen from time to time. I can't say I've ever seen something specifically like this, but we've seen technical glitches here and there. Now, sometimes they break trades, other times they don't. In this case, I have not heard anything about trades getting broken. So I'm sure there's people that have probably worse stories or crazier stories based on some of the charts that I saw. But I'm still in NIO looking to reload this if I can in front of 12 even. And this price action is going to skew the charts, right? So, like a 30-cent move on a $12 stock is going to look like it didn't move because this opening candle is $5 top to bottom on a $12 stock. This is a lot of names that are like this, but I'll be shorting the pops into 12. Every time I try to clean it up, it just throws it back in there, so there's not much I can do about it visually.
Yeah, no, that was a wild, wild morning. If you weren't with us, I mean, we were just like, what? Oh. Like, it was just crazy on some of the stocks. And then this is what happened to me this morning as well. We thought Rivian was going to be weak, and it wasn't, man. I mean, unfortunately, we started the short rate here at 18 in the pre-market, like our outs, 85, 79, 71, and we're just like, okay, this is great. Let's let this market open up. And then when it did, I actually had some good trades again. Came all the way up. We were shorting 18.10, 18s, and then all the way down where we got a great fill down here at 17.63. Now, I wish we would have got out of them all. But we had thought that we had more room coming here for Rivian, and then unfortunately it did break up, but the trade broke down, and it just kept on going back up to the upside till eventually we got stopped out once it broke through 50. And the crazy part about this Rivian trade is that we still have it on. Hold on, I should just zoom this back in a little bit here for you. I guess zoom it out. We still have a piece back on. Why? Because look where we shorted it. So unfortunately, all these were shorts up here, 8.10, 8.15, 8.25. Then there's the out. We held it about I don't know. I was going to say if we take, because all these get out and then we average back in. So, I would say we probably had about a 20 or so print there short, get out at 50. So that's a 30-cent hit. And it was pretty bad for sure. Like, it's not a good trade. I'm not happy with it. But then we, we're like, okay, whatever. Then we re-shorted it. The problem was, because the market was going insane, I used that high tick there of 65 to get short 60. So we didn't really have that much risk. And then it just absolutely collapsed to the point where we wind up taking another 80 cents there on the last piece, and now we're holding it. I should have probably shorted again, but I was waiting for 1850. So my trade today on Tesla was actually on Rivian, trying to go short on that name into weakness, but it just didn't work, and we are negative on Rivian despite catching a big tailwind there at the end. You can see Rivian on the daily has just been absolutely destroyed. Like, that's $120 back in December of 2021. We know the story about all the EV names. We can show you Lucid. We can even show you Tesla. Still pretty bad. Here's Rivian again. Up here is where you want to short it, right? That's where we did. And I thought we were good on this, but we got some outs down there. It just didn't continue to break lower. Remember, the NASDAQ was down this morning and then all of a sudden reversed up, and now we're down. So, it was a little bit of a tricky day for some of these NASDAQ names.
Can you go back to Rivian? Just keep it on Sean's chart on Rivian for a second, because I was talking to someone in the chat here, and I think I just realized something, because a few of the names that went to the upside, like one of them in particular, like, I got badly, like NEO went $1 and halted to the upside.
Right.
So if you think about this, just from a learning standpoint for next time, there's almost no chance that some of what happened in Rivian wasn't some kind of like weird sympathy. Well, the NASDAQ is open, that EV name just halted to the upside, other ones might be going too. And then a portion of that move was like inauthentic price action to the upside, which probably ran stops. Because the next time
there's a lot of NASDAQ, you're right, because there's a lot of NASDAQ names that did that.
That had that correlation.
So remember, you were saying there's something wrong with the futures, or something wrong with the futures.
Even my futures were messed up.
Yeah, there was something.
The next time, obviously we've never seen anything quite like this, but the next time, if I see anything resembling that kind of a disjointed open on one of the markets, I'm going to find a stock that's screwed up. I'm going to go to something correlated on the other market. If it's NASDAQ, I'll go to New York or the other way around, and I'm going to play the fade. Like, if something went crazy haywire to the upside, because if we knew now what we knew then I think that top on Rivian was like probably, like, that's just, okay, just go all in. Unless this is a legitimate move up, halting at the open to the upside on NEO, which it probably isn't, then you've got yourself a gold trade. Anyways, I just thought of that just now. We're talking to some guys in the chat. And you always want to be sure you're ready for the next time. Because I remember the first flash crash
I
for the
can tell you a story.
downside.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
The first time we saw the flash crash, I remember we were sitting on our floor. I'm trying to remember what year it was, a long time ago. And I just sat there sort of like deer in headlights just watching it. And then the next time there was like a mini flash crash, you're ready to know where you might want to pick up some bids and find some value and actually make some trades in there. And I think you have to experience it first sometimes. You see it, and then you get a plan of action for next time, because the market's going to give you things you've never seen before.
Yeah, I want to, just on that note, before we go back over, I just want to go to Palantir, because Palantir was a name, and again, once we realized that it was all that it was all New York names and nothing to do with NASDAQ, that's where I went over here and look at Palantir. Like, it went all the way down to 580. So this is what got me thinking about it, right? Because I was the same way as you and the same way as Greg over there on the bridge. We all sort of thought the same. And it's like, okay, where's the arbitrage? Because we knew that there was no way Nike, J&J, McDonald's, all these companies should have done these kind of crazy moves. So if the NYSE didn't have their stuff together and reopened it anywhere either up here or down there where it halted, then I knew that right away, if it was opening up here, I was going to short it because I knew there was a glitch and there was nothing specific with Palantir. Or if they opened it down here, I knew I was going to go long. But when they opened it right into basically some resistance. And if we can show Palantir right here, right into 740. And that was the level that I liked anyways. So that gave me an idea to short, because the market was going to the downside, remember. So I thought some of these names, they would reopen them where they should have opened, and then they would have corrected down. So for Palantir, we took the short right on the reopen, and then these are 30s. We were starting to get some out here at O's, like 05s, 06s, 07s. So we really took advantage of that. And so I think, yeah, next time that happens, good on Neil, myself, Brendan, everybody around here, thinking that, hey, maybe if, like Nike's another example, if they didn't have it corrected, like look at Nike, right? Up and like it goes to 112, it goes to 144, and then right where it was supposed to open, they opened it. But then I don't know like what that wick was about, but maybe I can zoom in a little bit more here to show you. Just trying to get it so we can all see. So you see where like it opens, I don't know where it opened, but then there's a little bit of a move down. So that move down is like $1 almost instantly. So I feel like those are the right moves. And then anyways, Nike just continued to trade. I haven't analyzed this. It's just what a wild open that was. You mentioned, Neil, that J&J. Let's look at J&J together here just to see what that name did off the open as well. So you could see here, whoa, 186.
Oh, come on.
J&J busted to, and then came all the way back down. You see when it reopened again, there's the move back down. So yeah, very exciting open, needless to say here. And what's up next? GE, I bet you they had a crazy open too.
It actually was, but nowhere near some of the other ones that you guys were just mentioning, guys. I just brought this up as well. Here's GE, another one that was affected by this, but again, the range really nowhere near, as I mentioned, what the others were, even though this is the one with earnings. So maybe there was some sort of correlation with, as you guys were saying, the auction and how big the bid was on the auction, maybe for individual stocks. But anyways, GE reports 2023 profit forecast was questionable to say the least, pointing to the renewable energy business. Very, very cautious note, and hence the sideways action here. I mean, not a bad day though. 0.3 to the downside.
Yeah, well, look, we did say, and we said this yesterday when the earnings board was up, that these might not be earnings names today that day traders are going to be all over. And quite frankly, there was one scenario in which I wanted to trade GE. It needed to be strong, and it needed to be breaking out above this 81, 82 channel. So that didn't happen. I mean, unless you count that crazy wick at the open, there was no breakout to be had by the time the market opened up. You essentially had rejected that in the pre-market, and you were trading to the downside, and I wasn't really looking for the break. Thank goodness, actually, because it just occurred to me, like if I had left it, and this is a good reason why when a stock gets too far away from a breakout price or something crazy like this, you don't leave the breakout order in, because when this faded down to 79, I'm like, yeah, I'm not taking a breakout at 82 anymore. That probably, I could have been triggered into a long in that halt if I had left that order in the potentially. Who knows on GE? Not as big of a move, but I'm glad I didn't trade this or have orders at the open. It's still valid maybe in the next couple of days when things settle down. Maybe it does make this break out of this area. There's lots of room to run. And it has a gap to be filled from when they did the GE Health spin-off, right? Because it was trading at $85 then. You've had a high of 81 cents and then pre-market high of 82. So I think there's room if it ever makes that breakout. I want to go just quickly because Alphabet, Google, Alphabet, same thing. Broke 98 to the downside.
Still be short.
Low, there we go. Broke 98 to the downside. It's not really a flat bottom break on anything but like the 3-minute, because it's a triple bottom here. But if I like on the 15-minute over there, it's not really that big of a break. I have 88s short, so not even like 90s. We'll see if he gets to like the 50s. I heard Sean say he wishes he was still short. Yeah, I mean that was like, this is the weaker of the names, but sometimes. If you got to be late, be well dressed, or at least go with the trend, I think is the way to go here. So if the market rolls over and goes further to the downside, pretty confident Google's not going to hold up.
Yeah, again, news-based story there with Google. We talked about that with the DOJ and whatnot, looking at their ad business. Okay, just quickly here, because we've talked about GE there. We are now in, Microsoft just came right to the level that we said we'd short it, so we did it. Right there, 40s, 45, something like that. We're going to get out if it breaks 65. I still want to use this top wick right there as the out. Forget about all this stuff. Last time we broke it, man, like it ripped up to 86, 87. It's just, right now, we don't need to go red on the name. We don't need to do anything yet. I mean, this market, here it goes right now. If it takes out 65, we're gone. But we're not really, we're going to get more shares here anyways very soon at 57, hopefully. We'll get a piece. Like, we're literally at 57. If it misses me there for the full shares, that's going to suck. It looks like it just did, as if it went to 56 and stopped at 57. Again, another random price that we chose there. But okay, the idea here with Microsoft again is that we're going to go short here. If the market does fail, we are below the 50 period, so I do like the short. We'll talk about some big tech in a minute, but for right now, the biggest of all tech reports tonight, and that's Microsoft, and it is going to be an interesting report, that's for sure. Big time movement in the name over the last couple days. Well below on the, not well below anymore, but at the 50 period here, below the 200 period at 260, and we're just off just a couple weeks ago down here to 221, so it's trying to battle up. We're right at, there we go. Did I get it? I still did not. Oh my God, I'm at 57 there, so hopefully we can get that fill at 57. It just went to 56 again before that. Doesn't matter, it's gonna fill me and then rip up and we're gonna get out. But let's watch out for Microsoft here, trying to build a short into this close.
few there. I just wanted to mention this Bernstein note that was out a little bit later on in the pre-market that I don't think we got to. Bernstein pointing to iPhone demand to fall later in the year with a bit of a cautionary note. Bernstein's been very negative over the past couple of days on individual names. There's been a few. But Apple, anyways, the strongest of the group. There was this one as well, Lulu. Tight little consolidation here as we head into the final couple hours of the day. Still negative on the day, but another one that caught a downgrade today.
Yeah, caught a downgrade, but how many retail names have we seen do pretty much the exact same thing? Nordstrom's had bad earnings. And they did the same sort of setup where it was a gap down, it faded the open, and then just went like crazy to the upside. I know, because I was short Macy's that day, and Macy's popped up, and Macy's basically ran me over. And Lulu did pretty much the same thing. I think it's always a good sign when the market takes bad news on a stock and decides to buy it. So that means that there are people looking at value on Lulu. The downside here is that it is setting up for a flat bottom break. As a matter of fact, it did break support. It tested 300 here, and you're still trend-wise beneath both the 50 and the 200 period moving average. So trend-wise, it doesn't look fantastic unless you can maybe get a couple of days closing above that level at that 306. So I don't know that there's a trade here. However, the next time there's a down move or whatever, bad news and a gap down on one of these retail names, I think I'm going to have a bit of a different approach. I'll just sit there waiting for there to be a flush. Once said flush, if said flush happens, breaking a support level, wait for it to reclaim that support level, and if it's a huge wick, just go long here off the bottom and then try and capture the top end of the range for a scalp trade. Because if I did that with Nordstrom's, it would have won. If you did that with Lulu, it would have won. So, whoever's next will go ahead and do that. Just to come back to Alphabet, because I think we're not. Yeah, we're done.
Finally, here
yeah,
we
so
go.
Alphabet, I'm going to try to get more in front of 98, but if it breaks 97.5, you've got $1 to next levels here on Alphabet if this one continues to go to the downside. I'll reload the other shorts I have if it gives me an opportunity, but this seems like it's going to go the farthest because the market just bounced, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, just to give you an idea, on the NASDAQ, we actually just bounced here at 11.9, and you're making fresh lows on Alphabet. That tells you what you need to know.
All right, you might have just heard us go right there. Let's do it again right now because there's the short on Softy. We just shorted 57s. We got it. So we got that 57 short, and there it is right there. 39's out, 34's out, 30's out. So now we need a lower, low. We're waiting at 27. Boo, Microsoft. Let's see if it can. Futures, what are you doing, bud? We'll put a 38 out there and get out quickly there for another one at 38. Watch out, futures there. Now we're starting to get above the 50 period. I know likey. So let's see if we can get one more fill downside right now at Microsoft as the future's trying to go. We got the fill we wanted. So this is part of what I'm doing, man. Neil and I will trade differently into the close than we would have in the morning, right? Because even though it's only 2:30, there's still lots of time. It's not the time yet to worry about this. Microsoft and the market could still easily make whatever move it wants to make. But for right now that levels are developed on Microsoft, let's see if we can get the push now. We want to take something out at VWAP if we can. So we're sitting here at 20. Right here, if we can get another out coming in right now, like I said, 27, we can get that at the 50 period. There it is. Let's go. Did we just get it? Yes, we did. All right. That's good, man. Let's go. It's going to be a good idea, hopefully, that we can get that. Now our next out down here. Let's see if we can get 242 now. This is what we're doing, man. We're just building a position, like we said, and seeing if we can't just see if it'll flow. See if this will flow down. The market right now, down 0.2. Microsoft only 0.13. So when we're doing our trade of the day just 30 minutes ago, it was 1-to-1, right? Now it's starting to separate a little bit. So either Microsoft is going to be stronger than the market into the close, or it has some catch up to do, and maybe we continue to fall. But we are now out of half. So this fill right there was a good fill. That was about 30%. So that was a good trade. Everything else was about 20. So now about 5% each take. Now we're making the move down. We're trying to scalp. Okay, So remember that, but we are holding at peace. We have half left. So let's see if we can get a 242 flat fill.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Well,
not really.
No.
What am I talking about?
Yeah,
Never
I don't
mind
know.
that.
I have to pay the mortgage still. But hopefully Microsoft can get down to the downside right now, and we'll see a 242 fill. So that's what we're doing. Our out is right here, basically that top of 65. So well worth it. We're short 57s. We just took 25 cents when our out is 8 cents. So hopefully we don't have to get that out, but if it does come back up, I'm not going to reload it anymore. This is a Microsoft position that we're going to see if we can hold, hopefully, into the close. But if the futures tell us otherwise, we've got our out.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If the market continues to try to grind slowly higher and you got a short that's working, I just think you do want to hold on. I do want to reload Alphabet here. I was able to get the first leg 75s. It just hit 97.60 there. If it comes back, I probably will take a shot in the 90s to reload this trade off of 98, just given the nature of the weakness that it's having. However, I mean, there's other names that have some relative strength. I'm looking at let me zoom back out here so you can get a better picture of Meta. Maybe if we get down to 143, I could favor a bit of a Meta long. And yeah, I'll go over Intel if it actually makes a move. But there's one name. Oh, this chart might be, yeah, okay. Can I zoom in here? Okay, there we go. Yeah. So Alibaba, I don't want anybody to forget. Well, I don't want to forget this myself, so I'm just going to say it so I don't forget. I have an order in front of 120. Yesterday, 120 was a great level. Today, 120 pulled right back into 119, double bottom at 119. It's halfway, and if it goes the full way, I'm shorting 120. I'm going to give it right to that number, and I'll probably reverse it if 120 breaks and gets past like 10s or so. But this is a short that I'm going to have until 120 is gone on Alibaba. NEO, like I said, I'm already holding on to that one, nothing to do there. And I just saw someone make a really good point in the chat about Tesla that I'm going to go ahead and agree with. Another one of these where you got the crazy wicks. See, Tesla, in this range, and this is going to be hard to see unless I can clean this up for you guys, but 144, this is kind of like your top here, 144, and you guys can see like it's about a 143 support, a couple of wicks below that. You're just going back and forth inside of $1 range while the market just broke the low of the day, right? Like you get to a key level, trade off of that key level. So you can maybe scalp inside of the range, but that would mean taking like 90 short or something like that and then hoping you don't get blown out. But yeah, even Meta's starting to come back down. I might get this chance at 143. The question is, will I still like it when it gets here? Because the market, yeah, if you start giving up some of this support, I mean, Meta's been strong. If Meta turns red, we could have some problems. But it has to break 43 quarter for that to happen. I'll be on that bid. I'll take my shot in front of 43.
Oh, man. Just looking at that Google trade is going to haunt me a little bit here. Wow. Oh, man. Google is just absolutely disastrous. We were short all day. It's my number one. Shout out, if you're still here, I believe it was Adam, I believe it was, there. Man, we had a great short there in Google today, and we gave it up. So look at this, just dripping right now as the NASDAQ. I mean, my Microsoft is going up, and it's just that's what sucks for me is all of this. Let's take a look at Rivian quickly here. Yeah, not doing much. I was thinking about getting into a new short right now on Rivian. But yeah, Google just continues to go. That's going to really, that sucks, man, because Google was, darn it, like it just need to get above that 100, and then we would have been laughing a little bit at that, which could have been pretty good. All right, because we need to get some action, we don't need to get some action. A good strategy is actually see these things, sit on them. Like you don't have to be into something, you know, unless you see something. And I mean, like, if I'm going to be a trader of the NASDAQ, which I am, and I'm just trading NASDAQ names, you know, not much happening right now, except for we're trying to take out some of this level high right now. But again, like, am I going to go long because we break these areas? I mean, you know, either got to wait for a short up here or try, I mean, this is not even, like, the trend, sure, I could, you know, you could flag, you could put this in like right here. Like, look, I mean, it's pretty simple. You just like that, you know, one there. Look at me, I'm a technician right now. And one there as well. And you say, okay, we're in this channel here on the NASDAQ, right? It looks pretty clean. We just do that pretty quickly. So that's what I'm talking about. You either got to break this high right there, which we could tell without any of these lines, of course. 11,920, maybe. You know, that's where we would start a short. Just thinking that it doesn't have 15 handles more worth of room. Or if you break there, nah, that's not good enough for me. For me, we'd have to break this bottom right now, sort of these ticks, not even this bottom there. But we've broken it a couple times right there. So maybe if we break 1900 again, that's 11,900 right there on the NASDAQ. We've been talking about that all day. Then maybe I could see a short come through. But for right now, nah, it's Microsoft. We're in this short. This is going to be the only one for me. If there's anything else you guys want us to look at, obviously we'll be here. I was thinking about Amazon because that was been a weak name today.
I just wanted to get to this because this is a good question. This goes right exactly what you were just saying.
Okay, good.
Hecta, which, I mean, that's how it's spelled, so I'm going to say it that way. The price action has been nasty today. What's your best practice for these sorts of days at both of us? So, I mean, trade less. If the price action doesn't make sense or the price action is nasty, then make less trades. Like this morning, I mean, we've been trading for a long time. I mean, you can tell by the gray in my hair, we've both been trading over a couple of decades. Yeah, we're old. But I had not really seen anything like that at the open, and you didn't really see me in anything but like I was stuck in Neo until it opened back up, and I think I had one other trade for a while. And then it wasn't until things settled down and started to make sense that I started putting some more trades on. And a lot of times it's like, well, I have all these setups where it's just, I know my price and I throw a stop and I can have 4, 5, 6 positions in the first 15 minutes. Not today. It's just that the price action didn't warrant it. What happened with the NYSE didn't warrant it. And there's nothing wrong with, like Sean said, just scaling it down a little bit. Because here's the thing. There is no chance that you are going to be happy with yourself if you see something crazy happen that makes no sense and you hate the price action and nothing's making sense to you, and then you lose a bunch on that day or have your worst day. Just don't overtrade it. If you see a shot play that makes sense, like if I see the same thing happen and maybe we can find a correlation, I take a shot, it doesn't work, that's fine. Now, all that being said, I'm going to get to Uber in a second. Yes, it's one of those stocks, so by those, I mean ridiculous at the open. However, it did reject the top. Lyft got an upgrade today, and this is down anyways. It's now got a bit of a reserve sitting at 30 cents. With this like little 10-cent sort of bounce range, not even 10 cents. You can call it like 7 cents recently, and then that last little move was about 10 cents here. So on a 30 break, what I like about the setup for like a tiny little flat bottom break is if I get short 99 or 98 on a breakdown, I don't think I have to risk more than 10 cents to know if I'm wrong. Maybe 12 or 13 tops. So I'm just going to look for little trades like this where the risk to reward is pretty clean on a flat bottom break. I don't necessarily need the market to trend down for me or anything too crazy to happen here. So I'm just going to get an order out. If 30 breaks, great, I'm in. I'll probably give it to like 10 to 13, and then I can get out. I know I want to I don't know. Someone asked, where's Alphabet going? I don't know. I mean, there's room to the downside on my 15 minute, if we can go here. Like there's room for it to get, I think, to like 96.5. I want to short pops if I can get some more, but I think at least 97 could make some sense. It just broke 97.5 here. Clearly, every time the market bounces, it doesn't want to do anything. So this is relatively weak. And then Meta, I want to take that shot in front of 143. It's not random, the fact that I like 143. When I was short this morning, it was picking up bids at 143. That's where we closed yesterday. And eventually, when it wouldn't, how far can I zoom back before I get crazy wicks? Okay, there we go. This one's actually not bad because it's NASDAQ. So you were finding buyers at 143.25, and then it stopped me out. That's where most of that flag was early on, and then it started supporting that same level. So if it gets down here, which it is, I'd like to pick up a long on Meta. So trade key levels, right? Like trade setups that you're really, prices you love, setups that you love, and keep it simple.
Yeah, we're basically realizing right now that Microsoft's not going to win. The market did go down. Microsoft basically stopped right at the 50 period of 30. So it's all good. We're just waiting for it to get stopped out now. And if it does, like I said, we are not adding any more. We've adjusted our stop order. So this last trade here will have worked for us at least, like I said, we got out of half. So, whatever. Sucks. Hopefully it'll come back down. We could get out right now, but that's only a 10-cent winner. So we want a little bit more than that here on Softy. So let's just move on. Palantir's been good. We're waiting to see if it can break through 7. This is a trade that we had earlier. We talked about that off that open and that reopen up really early there at 950. Hit it all the way to the downside. We're short right here at 35. So let's see if Palantir wants to break that bottom right now of $7. This is basically the bottom of the day for Palantir. So we know we've got a week 1 in this name here so far today. So that is Palantir looking a bit weaker into this number, or well, into the close. So Microsoft looking strong. Rivian, not moving. We're going to leave that one for now. A name that I wanted to look at and analyze a little bit was Amazon. So we'll. There it is. Amazon, yeah, not doing much again. That just made me think about it because you mentioned Meta, so I do actually have a trade on Meta that I want to talk about too. And it's similar to what you're doing, except for I was thinking about going short on Meta. All right, now it's just blasting. I mean, now the market's trying to go. So there it is. It's trying to get to that 1920 that we talked about there. 11,920 there that we're going to get to. That's going to be a key level. Looks like we just got there and dropped a little bit. So we'll see if it does take that level out. And if it does, which names do we want to be long? I mean, DraftKings is actually, now that I see for some reason, is DraftKings earnings tonight or something? Because DraftKings today looks like it wants to go a little bit today, up 2% today, DraftKings. So that's a little odd. Huge move early, now trying to go again. So I actually think this could be a trade. And DraftKings being strong today, breaking through 1485 now, which is not that far away. We're right at some key levels. Let's see if DraftKings can go. I mean, it's not a horrible trade, trying to break out. The problem is it's not really moving too much. That 70 bottom to 85, and it's only 15 cents. So when we analyze risk, we can sort of understand how much risk we can allot to a trade that's only going to move 15 cents. It's not going to be super exciting, but that could be something that we might look for a long. There it is, DraftKings earnings February 17th, so we still have quite a while to go before then. So check out
right after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, the Super Bowl is
12th.
12th. Okay.
12th, yeah.
I was gonna say because it's a week extra this year because of the 17 weeks, right? So
yeah.
Into that one. I don't know, man. I mean, that's just one trade idea.
Just quickly.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for more.
I want to thank. It was John Wilkins, member for 30 months.
Beautiful.
Congratulations on that. Thank you, you, brother. But it says, look at Grom, please. Well, okay. Thank you for pointing out Grom. How about that? You know, we'll start with that. We'll thank you for pointing it out. It's making a bit of a run. This is on good volume, by the way. I was trading it in the pre-market, like kind of looking for that dip, and then try to, just do a little bit of a scalp. Sometimes you get the one trade, like 350 to 380, just leave it alone and don't do it again. I didn't leave it alone. I stopped out of that one in the last 10%, and then I just reloaded it for a quick stop out. Should have waited until it formed a bottom, which it has now. It's above VWAP. I look at this 315 to 320 area. On any dip into that price, I'm going to look to see if it does a little bit of a consolidation right in around that previous resistance here. So if you drew a line right at 315, somewhere in that 10-cent range, 5 cents above and below, that's where I'll look for a dip buy on GROM. So I'm just going to throw it into one of my level 2s. I don't want to chase it up here. I think it's already got a little bit, like you look at that kind of move here, and I'd rather be playing a pullback consolidation and then trade the next move to the upside if there is one, as opposed to chasing the top without too much of a stop. So I'm going to be very patient over here. If we get a little bit more, I think we have a chance at Meta. I feel like maybe that was the chance on Alphabet to get more shares. And waiting at 98 is not going to get it done here. Maybe even that lower high there at 97.75 or maybe into 80s could have just been it. It might still be chance to grab it, so I'm just going to see if it pops a little bit and I can get back into some shares of Alphabet. It's definitely relatively weak, and when the market comes up and you want to short something, sometimes you have to stand a little bit more out in front of it. Just to go back over to something that I am in, which might pop and break. It might break on me, not like it did this morning because that was stupid. NEO, it did go to like 1160, got to 1160. I don't know if I want to reload this, but if I do, it's probably going to be right here at that 1190. These Chinese ADRs, if they don't start moving by power hour, they're not going to do anything, and I might just end up covering it wherever it does lie. And then I'll go to Intel because someone asked, why don't you go long at 2880 on Intel? I'm actually thinking about this because I don't know how many times I said this morning that the short won't get past 2880, to the point where once I was reloading it, I was just like, yeah, you just might as well bid in front of 2880 because there's no point getting out anywhere else. Like you short lower high and it goes to 2880 and then it turns around. So if you're taking it out at 90, you're kind of wasting your time. It just gets to 80 every time and it bounces. So maybe I should be going long at 2880 until it breaks, because if it breaks, you can short the break. You're allowed to do that. That's what happened on Google breaking 98. Wow. So I will go ahead and make that. Well, at least I'll get out of my trade in front of 28 if there's any support there. Like if there's no size, I probably won't take anything. But yeah, that 80 level has been a wall. You're 100% right about that. Like look at what it's doing here. It's just giving it to, he's giving you this scalp trade of 10 cents every single time. And I'm just sort of sitting in a 30.06 short, wanting it to break these levels instead of just taking what it's giving you, which is a free 10-cent scalp.
All right, we just took Microsoft out as it just almost stopped us out again right now. So it just came back to the 50 period. So we took that again, another 30 marker there to get some out. So let's see what happens now. But that's a level that we're looking at right here is exactly that for Microsoft. Coming back in a little bit here on Softy. So hopefully it does, whatever. Like I said, we've already planned this trade out. So if it breaks, it breaks. If not, we're here for this name anyways. So let's see if it does make that move. That is going to be Softy here, hopefully to the downside. New position right here. Now, I don't know if we're going to break, but I want to test it. So we're long now 74.10s off AMD. This was a level that we had on the sticky note earlier. We ignored it early this morning, and it was a pretty good trade. So let's see. Whoa, okay, so we've already dipped a lot below it. We were just trying to buy it off that last little dip down there to 74. It was actually 73.98 or so. But there it is this morning when all hell was breaking loose, part of my French there, I guess. But, you know, nice move to the downside there. We had written down here on the sticky note, let's defend 73.74. So then it ripped all the way to 75.50. So that was a missed opportunity. But since then, it's been pretty down. Remember, AMD does have that downgrade on it today, brought to you by, I think it was Bernstein. We just talked about them downgrading something else as well. Bernstein Bear, you know, no surprise there that they're downgrading. But we're going to wait to see here if it can hold, which kind of sucks because I see that my Microsoft is working short now. So if that's going to work, then we are probably going to get stopped out. But again, notice the math, man. We're long at 11s. We're going to get out if it breaks that little bottom right there on AMD. So like this is 97.98. So, you know, we will take about a 15-cent hit. We do have more shares on this one than we do on Microsoft. So it is kind of going to suck as far as that is concerned. But let's just see if it does break, and then we'll get out. So right now we are getting close to that spot right now on this name, and that of course is AMD. Let's see if it can hold. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Let's take another piece out on Microsoft right now. There it is. If we can get a 29, we'll take it. Let's cancel our 24s now because again, we don't want it to dip all the way back down like this after almost, it came right to the penny. Around a 65 break, went to 65. So we sit here all the time and sometimes complain about like, oh man, we don't have that, we don't have this. We got wicked out, we didn't get wicked out, but here we didn't and we got saved right there. So we were able to take some profit. So let's count that. And here we go. AMD is going to be spicy. Hopefully it comes back up, man. Our stop out is down here. So it's going to be about 12-cent, 13-cent hit. So we're looking to get some at least out here, which is fine if we can do that, man. Back at the 200 period, 74.20. That'd be pretty sweet if we can get it out there. So that's kind of the level that I'm looking at here with Advanced Micro. So, yep, a couple new trade ideas that we just put on there. I don't know if you got your Meta. Well, how low did Meta?
I didn't get Meta.
It didn't go down that far.
Well, I got to reload an Alphabet. We'll see if that's any good. That's a short, though. I didn't actually get, why didn't I get Meta? Good question.
No, I don't know what you're waiting for. It didn't go that far.
No, I'm at 140. My first bid's at 143.25. Well, it's 27. But yeah, 143.25. It looks like it didn't get that big. I put that in. So I had one sitting in front of 143, and then when it made this sort of wick bottom at 20s, I then put like a 27 order in to get it. But I was able to get, Alphabet there. Oh, give me a break, Grom.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You got Gromified?
Yeah, I did. Remember, I was just, for the love of God.
Come on, NASDAQ.
So I was just saying, like, it gets to this, just let it pull back to 315, right? Let it pull back to 315. Don't take the long breakout. Just take the 315 long and then watch that happen. Well, that's what happened. So that's a fail for me. Hopefully somebody did that because that was, it's not too bad. Now, I wouldn't chase. Oh, my God, that's bad. I wouldn't chase this or anything, but that's, that's the idea of when it goes parabolic, like the consolidation or dip buy on the long. Oh, for the love of God. I just went to the bathroom. Like, I'm an idiot. Sometimes the opportunity cost of when nature calls. 315. I think if it gets to, let's move on to the next, right? I think if it gets to like 375, 380, this was right before the open, that was 380. And then at the actual opening, or literally like 920 or so, it made another ditch to a lower high at 370. So that'd be the area that I think it could reverse, and I'd probably short it. Uber how do I have 30 short on an Uber break when my stop is at 30? So I know why, because I didn't get to fill on the way down, so it filled me on the way back up. So I'm short 30 on Uber. We'll see if this ends up holding. I'm only giving it to that 10 level. we'll see if it goes 1-to-1, and then we'll get like a 29.99, sorry, 29.89. Get a bid down there. I just want to risk reward. It broke a nice little channel to the downside. I know exactly what I'm risking here. Oh, Grom.
I mean, we just walked through the AMD trade. We said we'd get out if it came up to 20. We did exactly that. We got out at 17. Now I did actually, silly, like I didn't actually have a 20. That was spiked all the way to, there he is. All right, wow, let's go, man. Spin it right there. This is a good trade for me, guys. Nice move to the upside here for AMD. We talked about it. We put on those shares down there, and we had that level. The only problem was a little too early, my guy, right there, because our average price was 74.11s. Now you're seeing it scream to the upside off that AMD bid there. Never cracked lower. Was in trouble for sure, but here it is, nicely done to the upside here for AMD. Let's see if it can keep on going. And that's why, guys, we got out of that Microsoft, not out of it, but that's why we took some bids, man. When we were down here, we're like, let's get that out. So now we got out of some more position that we had there, and now we don't have to worry. And now we cheer for the long, because hopefully this can come in again. I'm just not canceling. I'm setting my Microsoft script order to punch me out of less shares, 30% less, because we got out down there. So again, this position, let's just say we only have now 30% left on this initial position. So out here, each one of these outs is about 10%. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, so that's right. So if it comes back up now, we will get out of that name. All right, and then meanwhile, of course, there it is. This is the move that we wanted right now for AMD. Let's go. Blast through 29. Give us a couple fills up there if you can, kind sir. And then that would be great. And we'll just get another piece out for 20 cents. Come on. And again, this is Scalp Nation, right? Oh, did we get it? Oh, maybe we did. We must have got that 29 fill. What's up, Fahad? Who is that? Is that Katrine over there?
Katrine.
Let me see. Yo, what's up, Katrine? Katrine, could you ring the bell tonight? Yeah. Okay, done.
We need to talk to you, though.
You talk to me?
Yeah.
Now?
Once you're done.
Okay, yes, Fahad. I will come there and discuss something with you ASAP on that front. But okay, there it is. So we did get that 29. So yes, sir. Good fill there. As now it's going to blast through it. But we are now 20 cents in the money on this fill. We're about to get stopped out most likely on Microsoft, but all good on that one. Palantir doing nothing. Let's just see if AMD continues to go up to the upside. I'm going to put another order. Where's the high there? Okay, well, that's good. It's running right into VWAP, so that's perfect. Right into here would be pretty sweet, man. 37, something like that, to get a piece out. And I'm going to go see what my boss wants over there.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll take over. I finally did get meta after all. You guys can see the position board. I ended up with the quarters, kind of what I was looking for as an average price, although I did take a few shares just above that. So inside of this range, I do want to scalp some out just in case we don't break the 143.5. I am now working back into Alphabet on this little bit of a pop back up. It's not to 98 yet. I don't want to add back in until I have a full position unless it tests 98. So I want to be very, very patient with where I'm adding into Alphabet here, because 98 was that key level breakdown. 98 is what I want to work with. That Uber trade is really only like a cent or two in the money back and forth. And even Intel starting to get back into the upside. So I'm on the offer here for Intel, and if it's going to be this 20-cent range, I'll take it. It's a $30 stock, right? Like, would you take 50 to 60 pennies on a $100 stock? Of course you would. So if I can get that scalp trade, I'll wait for it to get to 30, short that level, and then get out, probably get everything out in front of 80s. And if I'm going to get it all in front of 80s, I don't need to have orders sitting down around 60s and 70s. I might have said, hey, look at the Grom dip buy and not gotten it. However, you move on to the next trade. It just put a nice little top wick in here, not quite to the 77 level, but that lower high at that 70. So this would be in the range of one of the two places I would have wanted to short it, that 370. So we'll take a shot offering. I paid for locates this morning on Grom, so I understand not everybody can short a name like this. You got to check with your broker. It's probably hard to borrow for most people, at least it was for us. Only paid like a cent or two per share for the ability to have locates and go short if I want. Now that long has worked into that range, I want to get short in the high 50s to low 60s if I can. I don't want to chase it too far down to 50s. But there's your wick top into resistance. That means it sets it up for a short for me. Go back over to Meta. Got to zoom in and out because that opening range is crazy. So this is the range. I'm going to scalp some inside of the range, then hold to VWAP for the rest. Make sure I ring the register on that and take advantage of the move that it's giving me. I don't know if we're talking Apple here, but as the market as the market tries to bounce, that's me groaning over that wick, which now it's difficult for me to show you what Apple's doing here at 142. So, okay, I'm long meta here, but the other thing I'm watching is the 142 level on Apple. You can kind of see it's been that support. It's right up that support. I feel like these two names, which have been relatively strong, if Apple cracks first, I don't want to be reloading meta, so I am watching Apple pretty closely here. As we go to Brennan for Happening Now.
Hey guys, yeah, into the final hour of the day as we look at the TV. Final hour of the day to go here, 3 o'clock Eastern, still a bit of a flat session shaping up here. Let's have a look if we can, Brad, at, there we go. My screen, 0.06 for the S&P 500, 0.42 for the Dow. Still positive on the day, but it has been higher than that throughout the session. The Russell, 123,000 all dead flat. Same story for the NASDAQ, basically 1.3, 1.4. For the composite and the NASDAQ 100. Early on this morning, if you were with us from 8:30 to 9:30, make sure you join us every single day. We get you set and ready for the open. We were talking AMD, Tesla, and GE, to name a few. There was earnings from GE. We also discussed Lulu, downside this morning off of a downgrade, still chopping around in this tight consolidation, down just 1.7. Netflix was on the list as well. Another pretty nice day, 2% when the market's flat, guys. Netflix continues its move to the upside. Make sure you do take a sec, smash the like, guys, and hit subscribe if you haven't done so already.
I meant to talk about Netflix. I'll get to that in a second. But
Microsoft.
Two things happened. 98 just came in Alphabet, was able to get that reload, and then Grom made that press up to, that's GROM, that made that press up into 370. That's where my stop is going to be resting, just above that 370 level from this morning. I did add to it to get myself a 360 price, risking about 15, depending on slippage, risking about 15 pennies. That puts it 1-to-1 around that, just beneath that 50 level, inside this range, and then you get VWAP here, and then that's where I would get the rest out. So we'll see what happens. If it breaks out this high, I don't want to hold it past that, but that's the range I'm playing off of on Grom. And then Alphabet, it's really about that 98 channel, whether or not it's going to hold out to that one. Meta looking like it'll be fine. I mean, the market's bouncing a little bit, so the long, not really concerning me as much.
All right. Fahad, man, this guy's killing me over there. All right, so my mic?
Huh?
Hit another emoji because it's stuck. There we go. Yeah, that one was stuck. All right, there's Microsoft. That's what we're doing. Look at that. We just got a 25 fill. We are literally sitting right there at VWAP. It came in. We take that fill, and that's good so far. And then, by the way, how's 40 cents right now for AMD? Bang on that one. I told you we'd barbecue up some profits here in the afternoon, and there it is, AMD right now. We still got on 30% only, but we still got it on because it just came up into VWAP right there. So yes, sir. There's another one for DJ Khaled. Nice little move to the upside on AMD. Like our price target was, we were talking about 20s would be really nice. There it is, upside move for AMD. Let's go, man. That's a good trade for me. Hopefully it can come up even more than that, but we are at a spot right now. I'm going to take another piece out. If we get a 43, we get a 43, and then we'll work from there. Did we get that? Yes, we did. Oh, no, we did not yet. Did we? No, we did not. Okay, yeah, we just got to roll us over there to get out of that. There it is. So now we're out of 43. And if you're joining us, I see some people talking about it there in the chat about, you know, that we're not showing our share size. Nah, I mean, how many shares do you want me to tell you? What, 1,000 there, 2,000 there, 50 there, 10 there? It's whatever you guys want to do. We've noticed that with our audience for sure. I mean, because we're on a prop floor too, so you know the guys behind us. Every trader trading different shares, literally every single trader. Neil and I will trade completely different shares, even on the same move. Like, we'll feel different comfort levels, right? And I think that's the most important thing about trading is be comfortable in your skin, be comfortable in your desk, and make sure that you are trading shares that you're comfortable with. If your stop is $200 a day, then you're not going to be able to trade like 1,000 shares of AMD or anything like that. If your stop is $2,000 a day, then you can trade 200 shares of AMD. So what does that mean? That our show is not catering to people that trade a certain size of shares? So I just think that the biggest thing to learn from us is, and you're going to see this like on a stock like Grom and things like that, like we're going to trade different shares on that just because of how crazy it is, right? I feel much more comfortable trading Google Google, AMD, things like that. Like, I know where my outs are on here. So if this is a 1,000 share position and I'm going to lose 20 cents, I know that's a $200 hit, and then boom to the upside. Now we capture that profit, right? So it's about understanding why we're getting in. And I mean, this trade was pretty easy here for AMD. And I think Neil, myself, the midday guys, Brendan, we all do the very best that not only that we can, but I think that's available, period, to explain trades and things like this. That Mike Bellafiore guy from SMB Capital, I was reading his book, One Good Trade, and then I tweeted at him as well. And the more I read about that, like, it's me and Neil have already managed a prop floor and things like that, right? And so we've already seen and owned our own. Like, we've already seen the benefits of traders getting blown out, having,
Believe it or not.
Yeah, having traders that are that good. I mean, we had stories about even Arun. When we employed Arun on our floor. That's how we know Arun from a long time ago. And, we've seen him take crazy positions.
Remember that weekend?
Yeah, holding shares over weekends, holding positions, like huge future positions. Like, dude, like we're sitting there managing risk and we're like, Arun, like you have like 50 contracts or something. And again, this is when the S&P, I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness! I didn't even ask. You guys are amazing.
Where's the
Amazing.
Brad?
What's wrong?
Man, we just had. All right, Fahad.
Oh, that wasn't on camera?
There we go.
So Fahad and Katrine doesn't want to be on camera for some
All right,
reason.
so what, do you have a coffee there? You able to handle that?
Yeah, well, I'll be fine. Actually, my throat's been bothering me, so I basically have to drink something warm pretty much all day. I've been drinking like hot tea and all that stuff. But just to go to your point, like
what point? I mean, I just want to
No, I mean like.
But yeah, you're right. It's
seeing different styles of traders over the years, like especially Arun's very unique in what he does. It really is about process and decision making. Like I'll show you, like come to my chart for a second, because that's me, that's that trade working. So there's a perfect example. I was like, okay, well, pull back to 315 on Grom, go long, look for the short into 370. So what just happened? I missed the long, I take the short and lose on the short. I called the move exactly. It doesn't matter, right? It didn't execute it all that well. However, I always say I don't mind making a top wick there because the alternative is usually uglier than when you just take like a 10, 15 cent hit. The alternative is much worse a lot of times when it blows out and goes to $4. But that's sort of par for the course. And it comes down to, do you have to have an out? I probably could have jumped back into it, but I didn't have any liquidity. Like I wasn't willing to chase it down in the 50s. I wanted that in the 60s to make sure the risk to reward works. But you've got to trade what works for you. I will go back over to some of the other names. I was able to get a reload here on Intel. That's not rocket science. Remember I told you, if it just wants to do this for the rest of the day, then I'm going to wait for pretty much exactly here in front of 30. And when it gets down, I'll probably start taking it out at VWAP because VWAP's a thing, and then every 5 to 10 cents on this kind of makes some sense. So I'm going to get my orders out on the way down on Intel. Looks like Alphabet wants to make that hold at that 98 level, and as long as that's the case, I was able to reload right at 98, and when it gets back down to the 70s and 60s, this was our chance to get back into the trend in Alphabet, which has been pretty weak. So that little push up in the market, that was our chance to get into Alphabet. Took the opportunity, but if it can't hold 98, I don't have to hold the trade.
All right, look, guys, meanwhile, boom, meanwhile, bang, meanwhile, money coming rolling in right now. Let's go, man. Not only hopefully this show is educational to you guys, but hopefully it's also entertaining because are you not entertained? I mean, this Microsoft trade right there, right back to the 200 period, bang, right there. That's a good Microsoft trade. We just got out there. That's 50 cents. Playing this whole range. We got the top and now we have the bottom. Sure, we got some outs in the middle, but we justified them. And again, as long as your trades are justified, who cares? That's, you're always going to look back and say, man, I could have made more money doing this, or why didn't I hold more? And you guys know that's kind of my MO, right? Like, now I don't have anything left as it's tanking. But the idea is we got the tank, and that's the whole point of what we're doing right here. And by the way, hello, here's another one right now as we go bullish on AMD, bearish on Microsoft. So, what else can we do about AMD? We're long right now, 74.08. We just took a few more out here, but maybe that's a mistake. AMD does not go down with this market. Look at the market here, below the 50 period now. AMD nowhere near it. Plus, AMD has a lot of catch-up to go. It's brethren. NVIDIA is brethren.
Ketchup.
Yeah, don't worry about no ketchup chips there for you guys in the States. But look at this. NVIDIA flat on the day. AMD. The last stock I was on, I thought was AMD. AMD, mucho negative. And then what was the other one? Intel, I believe, is hovering in between the both. It was down about 1%. Let me see what it's down right now.
1%.
Yeah. It is. Okay, yeah, still the same.
did it
So,
say 2%?
all right, so there you go, man. Intel down 1, NVIDIA up or flat now, and AMD is the one that's down 3%. So maybe there is some pickup in this game. Let's see. There we go, man. Yes, sir. I'm just going to hold, like, no matter, wow, now Microsoft's collapsing. Microsoft just went to 80. Like, we guys want to talk about giving some winners here into Power Hour. This is exactly what we're doing. We're powering up right now into the close.
We have a thing for that.
Okay, and also, I just want to talk about one more thing here. Meta, Neil. You must be in Meta now. It's coming in.
Oh yeah, I just got a fill right in front of 143.
Okay, good. I was going to go short. I'm going short 143. That was the one thing that I wanted to talk about before, was I'm going to go short 143 into Meta and give it about, I mean, that's about 40 cents. Let's see what happens here. Meta short 143 on the breakdown. That's the play that I'm looking for. Maybe we got to get out of some AMD. Microsoft is absolutely collapsing.
Yeah, we're now getting right back into the low of the day. Well, I mean, on some stocks. Like, the market's not at the low of the day. I should say we're getting back below VWAP. I took VWAP on Intel, said I would. I have some orders in front of that A levels that comes back into the downside. Alphabet, sort of the same story. We got the top, started scaling out of this one as it heads potentially down to its low of the day. But it is Meta right back at that 143. So you'll see it just spiked into 143. That's probably not a bad opportunity to get on the offer the next time it pops up, because that also has turned red. The thing about Meta is, yeah, it's been decent support for a scalp, but if support breaks, then the only thing I'm long turns into something that I'm not going to be into, because that's a big floor that could get taken out. Remember I said Apple was the other thing to watch? Yeah, it's a little, that's not that much better. 142 is holding up on Apple just a little bit, so maybe that can hold the market up for the time being. Uber, that's kind of been a bit of a disappointment. I am short 30s. I am short 30s here. I have to zoom back in and out because of that open. It doesn't break or even get close to, my stop's at 10, I'm crossing to 20. It doesn't come anywhere close to my stop. Once it breaks the channel down here, I'll try to get some out first in the 90s and then even lower than that. So it's it's working, it's broken the channel. It needs to accelerate at this point. If it doesn't move, hey, then we just get out of it wherever it happens to lie, even if it's only for a couple of cents. But the trend has been to the downside on that as well. And as I mentioned, with Meta looking at least relatively weak, I'm going to get some orders out. So when it goes to the upside here, I can take advantage of said push to the upside. I'm not sure this gets to VWAP the way this market keeps selling off every single upward move. You go 10 handles, and then they just dump it right back in.
Yeah, so again, this goes back to, again, Neil and I sort of thinking the same thing, looking at Meta, but I'm going to wait for the break, and he's going to test the long. So that's part of it. That's what we do here as we go back and forth with some of these ideas. All right. I'm not doing anything other than this. You had a great idea there, Ponzi. I've talked about that we want that boom, shakalaka, like that, he's heating up. You know, like Glenn Rice, we can get some NBA Jam action going on there, man. Will be Alonzo Mourning and Glenn Rice.
The Charlotte Hornets, man.
And then there was Ronnie Cycli was in there as well. There's a lot of, little Timmy Hardaway. Okay, here goes the move to the downside right now. All right, Microsoft, yes, sir, let's go. This is where we need that boom shakalaka. Microsoft is a boomer right now. It's short at 57, down to 77. It's an 80-cent cash money trade right now. And then, by the way, we have 5%, to be honest with you, left. We just got another move out at 35. The minute we start to break those levels there, we're down. We got a 35 out. Look at all of these outs. Only 5% left, and we're going to hold it out. There's Meta, new position engaged. I don't know, man. I don't know where we're going to go, but we're going to be here for the short. Meta takes down 143. We're short at 96.
Internalization.
Fine fill right there. So let's see what happens now to the downside for Meta. It might not work. It may work. Let's just give it a second here to sort of breathe and look to see where we're going to get out if we're wrong. That's what I do almost every single time when I'm into a trade. Where are we wrong and where do we want to get out if we're wrong? I think 143.20 is good enough for me. I'm not sure this move's going going to extend any further right now. And what I mean by that is, do I think we can get way more than 20 cents on this trade? Of course. I think this trade can absolutely tank. But the point is that we got to get out if we're wrong. The NASDAQ is still absolutely barcoding. Sure, we just broke the 50 period and we're just banking on Microsoft. We crushed AMD and we're crushing Microsoft today. That's going to be probably my number one name, to be honest with you. Well, hold on, we'll readjust that. Google's a banger. Palantir is actually my number one name, but Google might be as well. But right now, Microsoft is looking like that. Let's see what we do at this downside here for Meta. So right now we're short. You can see it's not really reacting off that 143. Let's not be wrong. And if we're wrong, let's just ding our account a small amount. 143.25 is our out.
Yeah, my out was at 97, so I mean, like 2 cents worth of slippage. It's not a
if
bad
we have
fill.
to write a report for
It's
internalization.
No. It's middle because you were selling and I was selling too. Like it would be the other way. Like if I was going long, it's just,
correct.
That wouldn't be an internalization. That's you guys probably don't care.
We
about
can't
that
hit
kind of
each
thing.
other.
The whole idea is you're not supposed to hit each
Obviously.
other on the same prop floor. But that's
It's a wash trading.
yeah, that wouldn't have happened in that case because I was, I
We're
was
both
long
selling.
and we're both selling. But Alphabet starting to roll back over. I did get one leg. I got one at 97.7. Intel just gave me, there we go. We just got another fill on Intel. So the timber action continues. With Intel, I am going to get out at 28.80. It's been a line in the sand, so I'm covering the short at 28.80, anticipating a bounce. And then if it breaks down, maybe I'll just add to the position if it breaks through. Now, the good thing about the move to the downside is, well, I'm all short, but then Neo started to wake up a little bit. It just came back to 11.75. I'm not sure. I think because it's the Chinese ADR, what I'm going to do is just get on the bid here because it's had some support around 74.75. It's going to get on the bid and then work it out down to the low of the day. I'm not really anticipating that it gets to the low because typically you just don't have a huge range on Chinese ADRs in the afternoon. So while it gave me no reason to get out of it since I was shorting off these VWAP pops, I do have to get out of it because it's 317. We're running out of time to get a much bigger move. So I'll start at 74 here. It's kind of waiting for it to break the channel down. And now I'm going to get some orders out on the way just in case we get a big flush. I want my orders out and locked and loaded, ready to go. Not much happening over there in Uber, but I see someone mentioning in the chat there, thank you, Abhishek, you're talking about Amazon. Oh, that's got one of these wicks too. I apologize for these guys. I mean, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. I can clean that one up, but then it'll take me a quick second. But Amazon has been holding, so it's hard to see. This is like 97.75. It's a higher low on Amazon. That's why I'm not really absorbed in a name like this, because I'd rather see, like if Amazon was back up here and you're shorting off resistance, great. Or if it's breaking this channel down, which is this is the one that it would break, I think that's a little more interesting if you get the break. But I just took breaks on Alphabet, Uber to the downside, and then of course we're holding Neo and Intel. Don't need to add a fifth one going into Power Hour here. I'll try to clean that chart up next time.
All right. Yeah, thanks again, guys. If you can hit the like, hit the subscribe button, join us every single day as we continue to do this. And we talk about all of our trades, right? Like, that's the one thing that I think hopefully everyone can benefit a little bit from us all is sort of what we're looking at. Wow. I mean, this softie is really coming into her own right now. 241.50. What did I tell you guys about what stock was the, for me, right? And you guys even said earlier this morning, Sean, just trade softie, just trade softie. So guess what we're doing? We're trading softie right now. It's $1 in the money. It just bounced off $1 clean there, by the way. It just bounced pretty good too. Like it went to 50 and all of a sudden got some Red Bull, like it got some wings. Boom, right up there to the upside. So I still want to hold this, honestly. We don't have a huge piece. Like there's a bunch of outs here. We have 10% left. It's not a big piece, but at the same time, looking for this thing to go to the downside. So the one thing is, see as this market's come back upside now, so Meta is 10 cents out of the money. I know, it's crazy like that. We're even discussing something that's 10 cents out, but I only want to take a 20-cent hit. So if this breaks back above, just making sure I have the out there, back above 20, which is right into here. Again, like I just don't need to get involved into this. Like if you break, sure, we could use 33. I mean, maybe we should just use 33, but then I'm just adding a little bit more to the hit. So I don't know if we need to do that. I was going to get out if we break through 20 here. So let's just see if Meta does give us that trade. If not, it's going to suck. But, at the same time, we have more shares, way more shares than Meta, because we haven't got any out, than we do here in AMD. But look at AMD. That's just making its move right back up. So it came right into the 50 period and then just straight back to the upside. So AMD there needs to be bought next time we're at 74.25. As you're starting to go back up to the upside right now, should we take out... I don't know, man. I was debating taking something out right there on Meta because the market has bounced off of, again, look at that magic number. Puff the magic dragon here at 11,900 one more time. Like, we've already been down here, man. We've already been down here, and we've resisted this move a couple times. I thought maybe, this is part of the Meta trade, man. I thought like we were going to break lower here, and Meta was a name that I wanted if the market broke down. If it's not going to break down, then I'm happy to I'm not happy, we never want to lose, but if we are going to lose, at least it's on a name where I've convinced myself that I like the trade, and let's just see if it continues here. So I may actually average into this Meta trade, but again, why make a problem worse? Like, it's either going to go down or it's not. So I know, rocket science statement there, but let's just wait to see what happens here with Meta, because right now, Neil, ain't going anywhere.
No, and that's...
Like, you punched out, I'm sitting here, we're both kind of like wishing we didn't do it. Like, you wish maybe you didn't get out, I wish I didn't get short. Like, but the point is, it fell into our parameters. You got stopped out, I got punched in, so now we sit on our hands a little bit and see if this is going to work out for us. So
before we go to Brendan,
yep,
like you were saying there, because of that 11.9 and the fact that like I want to get out of Intel at 280, I'm actually getting more shares out kind of in the middle between VWAP and the low of the day, and then I want to acknowledge ALLO because some people in the chat were talking about this one getting to $8 even. Before we go to Brendan, just want to note the volume on this stock. If we can come to my chart very quickly. If you come to there, not a ton of volume as it's approaching that $8 level. So it's a big level up here on a double top at 8 even. But it's not really churning through a ton of volume as it retests this. You can call it double top, triple top. That starts to pick up. I think there is a breakout looming here, but I want to see the volume carry through as well. Brendo.
All right, a couple things. Just saw this one pop up again. Lift back towards day lows, popped up on a almost day low kind of scanner. So 1550 was a big area of support initially this morning. Heads up on Lift, looking a little bit weak. GNS halted, resumed, and is now doing nothing. So there was a volume spike there, back to the upside for Genius again.
Genius. That's a genius move to cover that stock, to be sure. I don't know. I'm all.
You're a genius if you're trading it, and I'm not. So there you go.
Well, you know what? That GNS. Oh, I didn't trade it. Oh, that was yesterday. Okay. Yeah, you know what? For some reason, I'm like, oh yeah, I traded that this week. I knew I had, but that was a yesterday trade. That was a yesterday thing. It wasn't a today thing. That stock, $4. That's what. Pay attention to the $4 level on there. It was broke out there at $4 yesterday. It's got a nice little bid here at 4, which was able to bounce. So that's all I'll say about Genius. We'll go back over that ALLO, kind of Allo making a bit of a move. I'm still tracking it. I just want to make sure I throw it on another level too, so I can kind of have a look at what the volume's doing over there. But Alphabet, our third time. We'll see if it's a charm. It did not get back toward those lows. However, I do want to stay net short. We still have time that if the market does continue to the downside and rolls over through the low of the day, through that 11.9, I feel like it's such a gigantic gap to fill beneath 97.50. It says 40 on the low of the day, but I'll go with that half, kind of yesterday's bottom. There's a big gap to be filled if it takes it out, and it's already down 2%, and it's got the negative catalyst. So to the best of my abilities, I want to be net short if it holds beneath that 98 level. Apple's holding this market up a little bit. I think overall, what just happened in Meta, I'm going to do this because I don't want to pull away from Google just yet. Like that little wick, I got out of Meta here, but then it tried to press back up, and it's sort of right back into rejecting. Like that break consolidation, sometimes it's better the second time through. It feels to me like we're falling back down. So I'm kind of going to stay with the shorts, rinse and repeat some of the levels that we have, like 98, I'll go again over here in in Google. I'll rinse and repeat in Intel. I was looking at Micron in case there was a breakout. So I was going to mention it that nothing was happening on Micron. I don't think this is useful because it's not doing much. However, NVIDIA, a little bit more interesting. We had some longs in NVIDIA earlier today that could not get through 93. And this one, it put lower, these wicks on the chart. It put in some lower highs here, but this just bounces pretty nicely off of VWAP. it's got $1.50 to resistance on NVIDIA here. So this looks interesting, like bouncing off the 50, bouncing off support in the NASDAQ. Stop talking and maybe just actually take the long first. So I'm going to get long in NVIDIA. Did I just miss it? Come on. All right, there we go. Sometimes you got to cross the spread. I was like, yeah, I should passively bid. So I like what I see here, like 191, like 20 or so. Give it about 25 pennies. There's a lot of room to the upside on NVIDIA relative to some of the other names. It's got a decent trend, sort of holding higher lows, and that was a pretty hefty pullback. So if the market does the bounce on the NASDAQ, which takes us from our boring 11.9 into 11.920 or 40s, then NVIDIA feels like it has a lot of room to be able to run here. So I'm going to go for NVIDIA. It's not really hedging myself against Intel because, quite frankly, Intel's been relatively weak anyways. But yeah, I'm long into NVIDIA here. I like that a little bit better than waiting around for Micron to do something breaking out the top.
Like, basically, I mean, Meta, I just put in the chat, like, Meta, what are you doing, bro? Like, it's doing absolutely nothing right now. So I don't know. I'm happy. Like, we're in the money a penny right now on Meta. Like, should have shorted it, I guess, when it popped up there. But I don't know. Now, I don't know.
There's a song for that.
Who knows, man? Song
Meta.
for what?
Huh. Good God.
What is it good for? Absolutely shorting.
You know what's hilarious? When I sing that song now, I always do it in a Jackie Chan thing because of Rush Hour. Like, I can't.
I love that. I actually watched Rush Hour. I think it was one with my kids a while ago, but I don't think
the kids have seen it?
Yeah. I mean, the language is fine. I think it might not even be PG. Like, it might just.
I love Chris Tucker, man.
Yeah, and they're good together.
Yeah,
but
they're great.
That must be 20-something years old, man. You'd be surprised if you looked up how old that movie is for sure. But meanwhile, you know, Microsoft, what is it good for? Tanking right now. So hopefully that move continues, man. We are now big time in the money for that one as we go, because there's Microsoft now $1.05 in the money as it continues. And look, for this one, I'm just gonna hold, like, if there was more time in the day, or you know, it wasn't earning, like right now you're coiling up. Like, if this is not coiling up right now, then I mean, you know, it's either, like I just said, again, not trying to do rocket science here, but it's gonna break. Like, this is coiling, like move down, right? Just like it was doing here. It was waiting. This was a little bit more of a move, but right now it's looking to figure out which way it wants to go. So on that note, 241.80, I'm gone. We'll put the money in our pocket, and we're going to get away from Microsoft. So that's 241.80. And look, hey, if it's the wrong price and it goes back up, you know, I get hit and then it tanks, that's what's going to happen to me. We're going to take a hit on that last piece of Microsoft, but whatever. It's now in the money, 85 cents. We were $1 in the money, so there it is. If it does retrace back up just a little bit more, we are, it just rejected that as well. We are gonna get out of it. And then look, man, we smelled that there was, you know, like The Rock. You smell what The Rock is cooking. Meta was cooking something nasty, I guess. It's not doing anything right now. So I'm going to see if I can get out of about 15% here near 143 flat, and then we'll deal with it there. There it is. That concludes the Microsoft trade. So sirens up. We are now out of Microsoft. We held that all the way, did pretty good. The coil up action either gave us this out or this move back down. So it tends to go back to the upside. Hey, like I said, if this is now Tank Nation and we wind up getting out and you know, we don't have the play as it falls down, then unfortunately that is what it is right now for Microsoft. But I'm actually going to just wait on Meta. Hopefully it comes back down. If it does, great. Now I already have a little bit of FOMO getting out of Microsoft, but it hit my level. So we are now out of Softy, and now the only shorts we have on is Palantir, which is at the day's low right now, so that's a good one. And then Rivian, I've ignored it. Why? Actually, as we were talking, Rivian actually did bounce off there. That's not the low, but bounced off its session low right now, just in the afternoon. 17, that's the low down here.
Morning.
Yeah, 1768 right there. We actually had those. I mean, here's my Rivian chart. We actually have the very bottom and the very top of Rivian. And the funny thing about that was the bottom was made at 932. The top was made at 949. So what a crazy 15 minutes or so there off the open for Rivian. And it sucks because although we had that short, there's me getting out of this short. So we got blown out early, and then we made it all the way back down. We are still red on Rivian today. Obviously, we wish we were not, but we are look at Microsoft. Microsoft now making that low move as well. So got out of that one as it makes its way all the way back down to that level. Let's hope that our boy Meta can make that money back for us.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll go with, I don't know. I like to hit sometimes this one when I have a chance because I think it's all shorts today. So like we'll ride the bull, or we'll ride the Brahma bull because you were talking about the rock. But the bounce on Nvidia, it's about to go green in 5 cents. So I got some out. One of the reasons out in front of 91.80 is A, it's halfway to this move to this top. B is it goes green just above there. So like that whole red to green story, sometimes resistance at a psychological level like that. If it punches through, I'm going to hold to that lower high that it's already put in at 192.5. That means if that's going up, okay, so Nvidia is working to the upside. I'm going to get to something else which is exciting that you might even like, Sean. I don't know if this is actually true. But I was able to get a reload in Alphabet. So we'll deal with the trading first. Right in front of that 98 level. 97, 93, I just got some average price now, 92s. But someone just pointed out to me that this might be happening. I don't know, man. There's an IMDb page for Rush Hour 4. So I don't know. You guys tell me, is this really a thing? Like, because I haven't been to the theater in a while. I'm damn sure watching that. I don't care how old those guys are. Jackie Chan's crazy, first of all, if he's doing his own stunts still at whatever age he must be. Those guys are amazing. I can't wait. If they're really doing a Rush Hour 4.
They are?
Well, there's an IMDb page. Someone said.
Oh, okay.
Someone said there might be
But
one.
wasn't there? What was that? Will Smith, Martin Lawrence. They were doing Bad Guys.
Okay, so they did.
Bad Boys.
They did another Bad Boys. And
I didn't like that one.
Like you said, I wasn't a huge fan. But
No, soft.
There's too much to live up to. That's the problem. The expectations
But that's
are
the
so
same
high.
problem with Rush Hour then.
I know, but I'm still gonna watch it anyways.
Yeah.
I'll sign up to be disappointed. I really don't care. I'll just watch it anyways. Yeah, reloaded in Alphabet. I'm gonna do the exact same thing we've been doing before, which is wait till it gets down here. As a matter of fact, that already happened. So we'll ring the register. Same levels. Just wait for it to get to 98. So that starts to come back into the downside. I have yet to get a single fill on Uber on this 30 short. Like it's not like it's not going against me. Oh, now it's starting to come down. Like it's not going against me really at any point when I got the 30s. It just isn't really following through. So I'm just gonna get literally on the 90, on the bid at 90 instead of why would I be bidding 89s? That's just a weird price to have bid. So I'm gonna get some out in 90, just sat on the bid there, and I'm gonna tighten my stop up as well. It's 330 by the way. So we're gonna get an early look on the imbalances, 149 million to buy. Now, what I genuinely hope is that NYSE doesn't forget to hold the closing auction like they forgot to hold the opening auction on like 40 symbols, because it'd be a bigger problem if they didn't have a closing auction. Like if what happened in the morning happened at the close, it would be abject disaster. Of course, I'm sure they figured it all out and everything's gonna be fine. But yeah, that was a bit wild this morning. I don't think we'll see that anytime soon. So even Uber is starting to come into the downside. Like I said, I'm going to get out of NEO sort of sporadically as it very gently floats down here, doing that thing where if you got a good trade in some of these Chinese ADRs, you hold on to it hoping for more. I just feel if it makes a bottom like this at like 1 o'clock, I should just be trailing out of these because I always find I'm just hanging on to the last 10, 20%, looking for a bigger move. And they don't really do anything in the afternoon. So, from now on, probably just if I find a bottom wick like this, next time I just get out in the consolidation because all I'm doing is praying for the same fills later on.
Like, I'm sitting here watching Meta, and it's just like the market is literally, I don't want to say the word tanking. I think that's misused, but this is a good move down, man. We broke 11,900, and now you're making moves lower. You're breaking through this range. Like I'm here thinking that, yeah, when I'd look back, if you told me that the market would do this and we were short Meta up here, that I'd be like, okay, this is a monster right now, and it's flat, completely flat, and we get out of our Microsoft as well at 80, and that's at 40 right now. So, Microsoft has no problem. That moved down 50 cents from that level as the market continues to go. And honestly, I'm sitting here in Meta, and I got a decent position. Like, it's not like it's a small position. It's I could make it. I can make here. Like, let's get going here on Meta. And it just, where it went to, man? 89 right there was the bottom. Like, honestly, it was one little. Now you're going to go up on the market. Look at the market. Look at the market. Look at the market. Look at Meta. Like, look at the market. Look at Meta. So, yeah, I'm definitely in the wrong name here. Needless to say, this is all on me. It's like we called the short. The short banked. And Meta is literally,
Oh my
as my
goodness.
kids say, literally doing nothing. Dad, you want me to literally end my game to come for dinner? Like, literally? You know, yes, I do. Oh,
And
we're
then when
going,
they don't, it's like I forgot.
yeah, it's like we're going to your hockey game. You know. Anyways, all right, okay, come on. Meta just cracked a little bit.
Now
I'm at
everything's going
86. If it, Phil 86. No, I'm not going to Brendan yet. Phil 86 right now. All right, you know what? Good luck if we go to Brendan, right? That's the whole thing. All right, here's 86 right now. There it is, the dime piece. You know we like that. Now let's get going to the downside here as we excited again. What up, Brendo?
Just seeing this note on Carvana. Heavy selling right now, downside action for CVNA. I mean, it doesn't seem negative to me, but they reached an agreement with the state of Illinois to continue operating in that state. So unsure of this, but heavy selling right now for CVNA.
Yeah, well, remember we were saying it's a good thing when bad news is reflected by the market if it going up? Well, think about that the other direction. That doesn't sound good at all if the market takes it that way. Look, I'm out of NVIDIA. We got the VWAP bounce. If I'm going to take 40 pennies, then I'm definitely going to take the 20-cent hit when it comes the other direction. Obviously, now Google's heading down toward the low of the day. We'll see if we can get that bottom. It's at the low of the day now on Intel, so that short's going to work. We did get our fill in Uber. That's continuing to fall. Everything is flushing to the downside, so all you had to do is, sometimes I find that when you go to Brendan, it's like, you know, a watch pot never boils. That's a phrase, right? So you go to Brendan, you come back, and then all of a sudden some things start happening overall in the market. So maybe it's good luck. I now want to try to hold all these shorts and trail them out going into the imbalances. We'll see what happens in the next 10 to 15 minutes, whether we actually get some follow through some of these lows of the day. That 2880 level still kind of hanging out there for that Intel for me. And the same thing with Alphabet. Like, it cannot seem to break that 2750 area. Like, it'll get down, you'll get that nice little flush, and then it finds a little bit of a bid. So I do want to hold on to these. You know what? I'm not even going to bid off the low. I want to see how it reacts at the low of the day before I make a decision. My next out on Uber, I just realized I should probably have an order, which I don't. So in real...
Look at Microsoft, by the
yeah,
way.
I'm going to get my next outs on Uber, the next 10 cents to the downside. So that'll be out in front of 29.80. And I'm canceling my Alibaba 120 because obviously that's not going up that high.
Like, I mean, Yahoo. I mean, yes, we are now 20 cents in the money on Meta. But, I mean, what? Like, Microsoft is like,
Remember what happened to Netflix?
hello.
happened to
Right there to the downside right now. Yes, we are trying to remember what happened to Microsoft or to Netflix on that move. And we even talked about that. I was like, I'm holding Microsoft. Remember I said, I'm holding Microsoft into the close. Well, I got it $1 ago.
show the trade?
But it was only 10% of a trade. So it's actually, you know, if Meta can fall, which it's actually doing right now, we'll actually wind up making a hell of a lot more on Meta than we would have on Google or on Microsoft. I know that sounds a little silly, but hey, it is true right there. All right, let's take a 76 right there. Now it's starting to fall in a little bit. So here's the Meta trade coming. And by the way, those of you like, I'm glad, thank you. You know, everyone's, you know, laughing and thought that was pretty funny, like what I was doing right there. I'm not trading on emotion at all. I'm just trying to entertain a little bit. This trade's already in. I'm not like frustrated with the trade. I mean, I'm frustrated with the trade. We're allowed to be, but that's not like trading with your emotions, in my opinion, right? It's like when I miss a trade and then I get into something, it's like revenge trading, or I don't believe it, so I'm averaging in. Like, to me, if I was using my emotions, it would have been like I was so mad here that maybe I just kept punching short because I was like, it's got to go, this has got to go, this has got to go. And then the next thing you know, when it rips up here and I get taken out and you look over at your P&L and you're like, what? I lost that much? Like, that to me is like when you're being stubborn and you're letting your emotions get the best of you. For me, I'm just trying to like cheer this on and trying to entertain a little bit here. And also, I am emotionally distraught about my Microsoft trade as well. So there are things here, but at the same time, Neil Palantir's 32 cents in the money and absolutely tanking as well. And we already have this trade. I mean, look where we're short, man. We're short, even you can't even see it. We're short, you can't even see. We're short all the way up here, man. So like this Palantir trade, if I do this, it's gonna screw up because of this morning, but let's see if I can go. There it is. So like come on. I mean, we ain't that sad. We ain't that mad. And then we got Rivian here. We ain't mad, as that's still at the bottom as well. So all is well right now. Just disappointed is more the terminology here. But Disappointed, not for long, because here we go to the downside again. We got out of 30%. Let's get out of another percentage point right there, as we just got out of 78. All right, Fahad just told me there, I got to come in earlier tomorrow morning to film something. That's what they told me. They forgot something. So what do you expect from Microsoft earnings tonight? Oh, man. This is a tough one.
What are the?
Unfortunately, I'm going to go with a miss, I think. But
Well, we're talking about so EPS then.
yeah, I guess. What do you expect? Yeah, I guess this is on EPS, so it's just a little worded wrong again, but that's okay. Earnings per share. So for me, I just think that the headwinds for Microsoft, could be something. I want them to talk about the dollar, how that's come back down. I feel like if they talk about OpenAI a little bit, that could be good. And some of their plans for OpenAI, whether or not they plan on like sort of reinventing Bing with that. I'm going to go with miss. Oh, wow, okay, 51%. But to me, that's not what's important right now. It's the guide. So let's wait to see what they talk about here moving forward. And that for me, is going to be key. So I don't know. I haven't looked at the expectations or anything like that. I actually try not to look at that, because then I'd be influenced into, sorry?
It's anchoring, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want exactly. And we talk about this, going back to when we had our own floor again, some traders, and I said this to Sharif today, I was like, don't trade your book, because he didn't want Netflix to go down. And he was like, I own Netflix. I mean, I own Meta, Google, Apple, AMD, everything. Right now, I own Palantir. Like, I'm short Meta and Palantir now. I don't let my portfolio, hallelujah, as right now Meta dropping down to the downside, I don't let my portfolio influence Microsoft, my positions here.
There was a guy, and we won't say his name, but you know exactly who I'm talking about, Sean. And he had an inability. If he owned something, it's like he could not short the stock as a day trader. But yeah, I voted that they'll miss EPS, but it's about the guide. I don't think that matters too much. But everything is heading back into the downside. I was going to talk about Netflix, but who cares? That earnings already happened. I was just going to point something out for the aftermarket. Alphabet's at the low of the day. If it bounces off that level, I'll probably take it out. Well, actually, no, I'm going to slap a trail on this one if it bounces off that level in the 50s. But we are right at the bottom because of the way the market just did this. I was going to get flat at 28.80 on Intel, but then we finally broke the channel down. So I said, why am I getting out at the low of the day? Let's hold it through that 28.80 break. It's not low of the day, but that's that support level. We'll hold it through and just see how far it can go. Been short this one since the open. It's the only thing that stayed clean and didn't stop out there. So Google, Intel, Neo, that's not doing much of anything. Uber gave the next fill as well. Got to zoom in because of the open at Uber. Got the next fill at 29.80. I'll slap a trail on this, probably in the 85 to 90 range once we get closer to 350 and those imbalances. I was going to drop a line in there just saying if you're talking about trading and emotions, all you got to do is quote Big Worm. Playing with my emotions, playing with my money is like playing with my emotions. So the truth in trading is you are a human being. Nobody is actually a robot when they trade with the exception of Arun. He's the only actual confirmed Android that I'm aware of where you can never actually tell if he's up or down in a day. He could be out 5 figures or up. You can't tell when you look at the guy. Trust me, I've tried to figure it out over the years. But for most people, you do the best that you can to make quality decisions. Sometimes your emotion's going to show, and you have to be yourself. If you're a more emotional person, okay, you might be having on your sleeve and showing it, but it's not actually affecting your decision making. You're just sort of being yourself. And yeah, we try to entertain as well. But there's no such thing as turning off your emotions or changing the person who you are. Like me, I'm always going to have a tendency to get stopped out at the high of the day because I don't want to have something game stop me or whatever, for lack of a better term. So I know that's going to be part for the course, and sometimes I have to find a way to hold those or get back into them. Know who you are and just be yourself and try to manage your weaknesses and accentuate your strengths. That's all it is. That's all anybody can ever do. But yeah. Arun's an Android. Let's just start with that one. Because I've seen sometimes, I'm like, why aren't you actually concerned about this? But anyways, let's move on to the next here. Let's just see what happens when we get down to these bottoms. I don't want to do anything but let these ride. Whether it's, we're able to get that Uber, we're able to get Intel. I want to see breaking lows of the day here. I want to see Neo's not doing anything. I do feel Meta was probably, this could have been a reversal. I did go long off this one. I don't think we're going to get, that was when I got out of the meta, I could have gone into the reverse, could have had a fifth short, and that would have made a heck of a lot of sense. And remember I was saying I don't want to reload or think about longs in meta. If Apple broke its support, and that's why I'm holding shorts probably to at least 355. Brendan.
A few people circulating a note suggesting, guys, that this one, Hellbiz, in works with a partnership with Mr. Beast. So big volume spike there for HLBZ.
Yeah, no shit. Yes, HLBZ there. Mr. Beast is Z-Man. And yeah, so nice little spike there. Not really too much on the volume side of things there. But yeah, nice little spike up there for Hellbiz. And yeah, Mr. Beast there, a billionaire or something. He was valued on Forbes there, a couple of, I don't know, 500 million, 900 million, I don't remember what it was. But Mr. Beast there. It's funny because my kid's birthday is this weekend and he wants Mr. Beast burgers. We got it for him one time and he liked them. So they're little pop-up shops and they're not bad, but they're just like whatever. They have like, some of them have fries on them and stuff like that. Anyways, you guys would know about Beast burgers there, I would assume. But nice little move there for Hellbiz. I mean, it's not been a great day for them as it's down 2%. It had a monster move early, right? Again, sort of when all that chaos was happening in the morning. Hellbiz, wow, it was chaotic as well. Up to 56 on tons and tons of volume. Now coming back in, I would always say watch out for the bottom breaks, but right now you're just in the middle. This is not my cup of tea. You guys can clearly see the kind of stuff that I trade because there it is right now. I mean, bye-bye Meta. You know, the only thing is, it's just too bad that we got out of Microsoft. But honestly, we made so much more money that the fact that Meta went down here and we're still holding on to 40% of this trade. I actually have a bid at 33. I'm just going to put, all right, I was going to say let's put a 35. But let's see, we're actually bidding, like why am I bidding 33 anyways? All right, cancel at 33, put a 37. Like, again, like I just went a couple pennies ahead of 30, like no real reason, and that's where it bounces. But again, sometimes it sees it. Oh, that's probably what this price is right there. No, that's O's, so I don't even know why I'm at 33 there. It was right into here was some of the stuff that I was looking at from this morning. It's just, it was nothing. It's just trying to find a spot where you might want to get out. As if it stops, that wick right there is 33. I couldn't have said that any differently. Like that's where I was sitting. So we'll get out a little bit more here as it comes back down. But so far so good here on this trade. I'm gonna take a 47 if we can get that right now. Back in now. Hopefully it just makes one more move down and whoop, there it is. Okay, so good. So we got that out at 47. Now let's see if it continues to move down. But there it is right there. It's 50 cents. What's up, Melon Husk? Melon Husk? That's a good one. I said Melon because of Elon, of course. I just want to thank you guys for creating entertaining yet educational show and taking the loneliness out of trading. That's part of what it's all about, right? I mean, we are blessed enough. I've always been on a trading floor, so I've never even traded at home. I've always used this platform sitting right here, yeah, so I know what it's like, you know, to make sure that you have people around you, and I think that that's what it's all about. So I want to thank you for that super chat, Mr. Melon Husk.
I love the name. That's literally the reason why this came about, because everyone understands how difficult it can be. And even trading in multiple floors, the idea originally was this would be a teaching tool for the offices that Day Trade the World had. So that we're not going to see 98s again on Alphabet, so I'm just basically just holding on to it. This was probably like the one trade. If you had to think of the one thing I really, really loved outside of Intel 30s, it was probably that 98 on Google. So we're just going to let this one ride. I don't see a reason to chase this move to the downside, especially when the imbalances are coming in about 2 minutes. It's supposed to be a small buy. We'll see what happens there when they do come out. I will get out of Uber, however. I'm sliding from the 15-minute to my 3. Uber's actually bouncing a little bit more heavily. Like, Google's breaking and holding the lows. The market's holding the lows. I'm seeing only of everything I'm trading, Uber's the only one really making kind of a bounce. So I'll get out if it gets back above 29.90. And we said this when you have a sideways market, allow something to happen before you make a trade. So don't overtrade. Let 30 break, and then just hold it as it flushes to the downside. There's no need to be getting out here for like 3 or 4 cents. Allow the move to happen, and once the move happens, then you can start scaling out. It's the same thing with Intel. Okay, so could you have shorted it all the way up here? Yeah, you probably could, but that's the level. Wait for the top. Let it fall. As a matter of fact, if that's a wick top, I'm probably going to trail this one out. If it gets above like 29.85, I'm going to slap a trail and see how far this one goes to the downside, because it's already been scalped out at this point. Like, if you've already scalped the trade, Sometimes I hate that term, but if you've already sort of scaled out of the trade, then I find you might as well let the last of it run a little bit. So I'm going to put a trailing stop and just see how far we can go for every one of these, with the exception of Uber, Neo, whatever. Chinese ADRs don't move, but it got to low. It did that thing where it got to the low of the day and then bounced. So I'm actually just gonna get out right here on NIO. I said the next time this happened on Neo, I would just do it, but I didn't. That's not one that I traded this afternoon. I will short this off of the open. If you weren't here this morning, I'm not up on Neo, despite the fact that these shorts were all gold beneath 12, because this happened on the open at Neo, and that's real, man. They didn't break any of this nonsense. Like, this was 12. They halted it to the upside. If you had to stop up there, on that reopen or whatever, you end up getting like 13s. It kind of sucked. But what can you do? Like, they didn't break any of those trades, so that's part of life as a trader. Make some of it back, but you're not going to make the whole thing when a crazy move like that happens. I hope anyone didn't get the wrong end of that for some of the other stocks. I saw worse charts than NIO. So my stops are in. Here come the imbalances.
Yeah, 5 seconds, 2 and 1. Let's see what these imbalances do right now. It looks like it's going to the upside here for Meta anyways. You know, the funny thing about this is we're gonna get you some here right now. Amazon sell, a lot of sells on here, but it looks like we are trying to go back up to the upside, including Meta. But look at this name right here. Look at AM freaking D. We bought this name at 74 as the market was tanking there. Look at AMD chilling, straight stone cold chilling there as it moves back up to the upside. So not only did we have 3 shorts, like all these shorts, man. Meta, like huge. Like, we just got some out. We only have 30% left. We told you we had 40% left, and we just got it out. So let's get some out now. If Meta breaks above like 143.10, I'm gone. I don't need to be part of this anymore. We're not turning a losing trade. Sorry. A monster winning trade into a loser, that's for sure. So we'll cancel all that. We'll get out there if it does go back up. Actually, you know what? Let's take a piece out for flat. We get a 96. We'll get out on there. We'll get a piece out. We'll just get 10% out for flat. You know what? Let's hold. We'll get it all out if it takes 10s. That's that. We're going to let this run up to the upside as well. This is 50 cents in the money. Let's start to get out of some of our other trades here. I'm just keeping this up. You can see if any of your stocks are on there. Rivian. So Rivian, okay, right here, right now, 03s. I mean, do we want to take it out or wait for 02s? I don't know. We could do whatever. Let's just put a bid at 02 if we get it, Palantir here as well, right down to O's. Same kind of deal. By the way, sorry, I'll put it back to Rivian. We just got the fill right there. Just printed a bunch of 02s. Just in case you guys saw, I went over to Palantir and missed it. Here's a bunch of 02s right there. Ding, 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 ding. So we get the fill right there. Whether or not you want to punch out at 03, up to you. And then the other trade there, Palantir, at 01s right now, at 02s, sorry, on the bid. We'll put a bid on for Palantir there at 01s and see if we can get out of that one. And then, yeah, that's that, man. What a great end to the show here. Microsoft just made a move upside. Where is my Microsoft trade? Just to show you guys, look at that. Wow. Where's Microsoft on here? Did you see that?
They're not there.
No, I don't see.
NVIDIA's a buy.
Okay, so guys, remember we talked about this before? Like, where do we expect it to go? Hey, maybe Microsoft beats. Like, it just moved up $1 there, and I don't even see them on here. So take that for what it's worth. Sometimes you just look at these little tidbits there, and maybe there's something there. Remember, Netflix tanked because of the Reed Hastings, right? So,
it was going down into the close too. Like, it was, but I mean, the market was a little bit to the downside, and Netflix flushed off. I only have Uber left. Like, I put trails on all of these. We'll get out of that 98 short on Google. That just came back to 97.5. I was trailed out of Neo already. Intel as well made a bit of a bounce off the low. So, all the trades that we got into in the afternoon, try to give it that home run sort of style for the last little bit, and then they end up getting trailed out at the end. Somehow Uber is like the only one I'm in, like the one that's moving, I would say, the least. I mean, I'm right here. Probably in a couple of seconds, this is going to trail out as well. So all of the shorts had a bounce there, despite the fact the imbalances came 400 to sell. And then someone just said I saw in the chat someone talking about a swing short on Netflix. Netflix has been strong, man. I feel like I was short this stock today. Like, this is my best stock this morning because it was just giving you like a couple of $4 moves in there that were clean, like 361 to 357, as clean as it gets twice. And then it just started jamming back into the upside. The daily's gorgeous here. I do feel like it's due for a pullback, but Godspeed, because this is one of the stronger ones in the market to hold short. Brendo.
Just because it's a rarity these days. All-time high alert for this one. PCAR. We saw it on the board when we came on at 2 o'clock. This is a heavy equipment maker in the industrial group. Reported earnings this morning that beat Very, very light volume, but all-time highs, guys, for PCAR right now.
Okay, so comp SRX one. It's okay. It's you. So in the chat, by the way, if you want to vote on these
super
polls,
chat.
yeah, if you want to vote on these
Neo.
polls, and thank you so much for the super chat props winner here for the Neo highlights. We like to go over everything we trade and whatever you guys are interested in. But if you want to ask questions or participate in the polls, you actually have to be a subscriber to be in the chat. But we see some regulars in there, and I apologize, comp SRX. I know some of us, we go back and forth and talking ideas all the time. I just didn't quickly notice who it was that mentioned that about Netflix. So you know we're trading live and we're kind of talking to you guys. You might miss the name, and I didn't mean to say somebody when I knew who it was there, but I just will acknowledge you there. We'll see what happens at the close for Microsoft, but I just remember one of the mechanical things that happened with Netflix on that earnings play was they had that big flush, but it had already sort of tanked into like 315 earlier that day, right? So it made a move down into 315, and then it tried to break, got to about like just in front of 10s or so, right in here, and then like reclaimed that 315. I have this sinking suspicion that Microsoft might do something very similar. Where like if the EPS comes and it's like, oh, a little bit of a disappointment, they miss on the EPS, like there might be that first move down, and then if the guide is good, you get like a push down into like, I don't know, like 35 or something, and then it's just like rocket ship. It's about that guidance, and the bots have been burned plenty of times when they react to that top line number, or that bottom line number, and don't wait for the guidance.
It's going to be exciting, man. It shouldn't be right at 4. It'll probably be a little bit later than that. We'll see if it does come out right at 4 o'clock for Softy or any of those names that are anything significant. We are going to go over to Brendan and talk a little bit about that. But look at that. There it is right there. We'll finish it off with a bang. As per usual, hopefully we could do that. It is risky to hold shares into that number at 355. It wasn't a big one. It was only 400 million to sell. But look at AMD right up there to the upside, and there's the end of that trade. So 74 is long, man, 74.20. And again, thanks to everybody there in the chat. This has been an absolutely fantastic show. And yeah, we brought the heat here at the close, and I'm exhausted, but very, very happy. This is going to be a great one here tomorrow. This should be good. So let's go over to Brendan at the big desk.
One of those ones that were scheduled for 4:05, but who knows? We might get them right at 4 for Microsoft, guys. Busy board once again.
So I missed Boeing. Well, we know Boeing's reporting, but I missed Boeing this afternoon. That's breaking out as we speak through the high of the day. So that's one worth watching. And then Microsoft, right? Those two. Texas Instruments, I suppose, could be a bit of a trade.
You always comment on ASML, but that's there too.
I just find that like ASML is a good barometer for like if you look at AMAT or some of the other chip names, ASML is a good barometer for the chips.
Yeah, not much else on there. Yeah, I mean, CN, play the rails there.
Did you see Boeing?
No, I did not see Boeing.
So Boeing was one of those stocks today.
Well, any New York name, I think.
But it did. This can be hard to see on the chart because Boeing has this wick to $227. We come to my chart for a second. Boeing has been super strong. It just broke the high of the day. I didn't see it on maybe it was on the imbalance locator. I didn't really see it there. So we'll get that before the open. It's breaking out on the daily. My 15-minute. I think if we can clear out like 215 or something tomorrow, I don't know why. Yeah, zoom out, man. Keep going. If we can clear out that 215 area, this has a lot of room to go to the upside. But that has to be on radar to watch. Don't trade Boeing every single day. But when we get earnings or have a catalyst, this can be a great day trading stock. So it'll be on my radar tomorrow.
All right, only a couple minutes left here. What do we want to watch? I mean, I'm still watching Microsoft. Microsoft just came all the way back, man. Like, Microsoft just ripped up $1.40. So, like, okay, so like if we were holding it into the close, I guess we would have lost after all. But we probably would have got out there at 241.40 or so. I probably would have got out right around here, 241, let's be perfectly honest. But that's a nice move into the close, and then even a better move back up, especially for guys like me and maybe you that are long into Microsoft right now. So Katrine's supposed to be coming here for the bell. I'm going to message her right now.
For the bill?
Yeah, for the Bills. Bell time, I'm messaging her right now. Hopefully she comes running through those doors because we only have a minute and a half right now. Good out on everything, man. Apple, let's check out on that. What's happening today? Up 1%. Okay, so that's good. Amazon, we love to short Amazon, and man, did we have it today as well, but then got taken out. No, it was yesterday that we had that Amazon high, not today. As you can see, Amazon's right there at the bottom. So we'll see what's going to happen now as we continue to make moves downside here. So Amazon, maybe it breaks. We could still see that it's relatively weak today. traded 1.25 versus the NASDAQ, which is flat. So, you know, that one, we'll keep that in our mind. What is BABA today? Up or down? Flat. Okay, so I was just trying to think, like tomorrow, Amazon we know can be weak. Obviously, a lot of focus will be on Microsoft, but Amazon, and then it was Google too, right? Google wound up red today, I think, for sure. Obviously on that news, so that's a big move down. Apple positive in the money. Meta, we got taken out at the end, of course, right there at 10, where we said we would. That's stronger than the market for sure. So, all right, so Meta tomorrow for strength, Amazon and Google for shorts, Microsoft. We'll see. Amazon, sorry, it's Meta and Apple for the strongs tomorrow. I'm actually going to write that down.
Yeah, well, I'm still going to, you said BABA's not really doing anything, but I still like 120 on BABA.
Oh, yeah.
When there's a good level like that, where the sellers have just been all over 120, I'm selling with them at that 120 level in Alibaba. Obviously, it's going to be all about Microsoft and a little bit of Boeing tomorrow as we drop the bell. Here's the countdown. Katrine's now running over in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and ring it, Katrine.
And that's that right now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Katrine, for that. We write down Apple plus Meta. We're going to also keep our eye here on Microsoft. Let's go to Brendan because maybe Microsoft comes out as we're doing this, and then we can flash back and forth. So if Brendan's ready, let's go and see how these markets finish the day.
Yeah, quickly, we'll get a look at the futures here, guys, ahead of Microsoft. Obviously going to move the market, so keep that in mind. There's the NASDAQ right now, 0.27, 0.22 to the downside. The Russell, 0.3 right across the board. We did get green on the Dow. Almost got there on the S&P as well.
Yeah, almost. But look, it was actually a pretty impressive rally off those bottoms. Like it looked, for all intents and purposes, that you were going to have just a flush into the close. And the imbalances came out, oddly enough, weirdly, to the sell side. And then you got a decent bounce. I mean, Microsoft, everything was working short. You saw that this afternoon. And then we got a nice little relief rally. Whether it holds out, that's going to be up to Microsoft and their guidance. So we'll see. Nothing's going to be written in stone here, but we're going to be back. That's written in stone every single day. Thank you guys so much for the support. And
so I assume it's out.
I think it's out. Well,
yeah, I know, but it's really it's really moving around here. I mean, it easily could be out or not out right now. Brendan is saying that it's out, so I'll put my earpiece back in here. If the numbers come across, we will obviously get them to you. But right now, Microsoft, yes, sir, 245,
there we
246, go. Huge move up. Look at the NASDAQ, extensione, upside move right now for the NASDAQ. Does Microsoft save the market? Yes, they do right now. Huge move up, right up to 250. Microsoft right now taking off 251. Microsoft exploding to the upside. Huge move right now, starting to take it out. Microsoft, the earnings, I guess, are out. Microsoft, lift off. We started at 242, up to 250. There goes Mr. Softy. I don't know if we have anything. I don't know if Brendan wants to take this over.
Yeah, I don't have EPS. But it says here revenue looks like it beat. EPS was a miss? I don't know. We'll get it officially from Brendan because I'm going to assume the guy was good.
Yeah, we'll if he has anything, we'll get to you. But there it is. Nice move up to 250. If you're going to look at the daily chart here, or let's look at the 20-minute again. Okay, we're well off. I don't know the last time we've been up here, so we'll have to check that out on the daily chart for Softy. 250, I mean, ideally you'd like to get to 260. That right there is a $10 move. So from 242, there it is, $10 upside. Someone said to us today $10 on Microsoft. I don't remember who that was, but there it is, nice move upside right now. 252, Microsoft. What's up, Brandon?
Yeah, it looks like the forecast, guys, was better. 220 versus 231, that's a miss on the EPS. Personal computing, 14.2 billion, decreased 19%, also a miss. So there's a few iffy parts to this, but yeah, nice move.
You like it when, if they missed across the board for the most part, and you got a reaction like this, then that tells you, this is sort of so similar to what we saw with something like a Nordstrom's, but I'm definitely happy to see it. Everybody, look, you want the market to go up. As a trader, you can trade in either direction, but overall, you want the market to go to the upside. I think even Pratt can agree with that one, that we're happy to see Microsoft go up here.
Even Pratt, yeah, exactly.
Well, I didn't mean it that way, you know.
I think he bought some Microsoft on a dip. I don't know if he did or not, but there it is right there. Huge move up for Softy. Let's see if it can hold. It's a big day, man. It's going to be big tomorrow. That's for damn sure. All right, Microsoft leading the way. Thank you so much for watching. Your trade of the day was Microsoft, actually. So let's see what happens there. Stay tuned to watch that. I want to give a big shout out to Luca today, to Sharif, to Prad, to Fahad, to Katrine. Thanks for ringing the bell. Everybody involved. Thanks, Bears vs. Bulls, and thank you to all of our viewers as well. Okay, I got to go pick up my car, which is ready, so that should be fun.
Nice.
Make sure you join us tomorrow. It's going to be, I mean, you thought today's show, there's Microsoft right now, 254 and going higher, higher, higher. So there goes Microsoft. Will we see 260 today? Possibly. Nice move upside there for Microsoft. That's the key level for me, 260. All right. Thanks you one more time for watching. If you're long, it's going to be a good night. If you're short, maybe it pulls back. We'll wait to see. But for everybody here at Trader TV Live, that's Neil Brennan. I'm Sean, and we'll catch you on the flip side tomorrow at 8:30. Ciao.